say traffic there massive when you are coming from Kaswa into Accra, meboa.
Exactly. So what is happening is that usually around this time, there is no traffic when you are going to Accra, that's the eastbound stretch, or when you are going to Kaswa, that's the westbound stretch. Usually around this time, there is no traffic. Even if there will be traffic, it is on the westbound stretch, that is when you are heading towards Kaswa. But what we are experiencing now from the Wager barrier all the way to Titigu is that there's traffic on both lanes.
Oh, okay.
So both on the Accra bound stretch and then traffic at Woko Kaswa. And that is because Isiono Aje Equina Elidiko Accra no Ajifa Afa the Atetene FB Hills no Abba Fine like it's difficult to be Femukra. Won't be car can think it's quite a we are car. Ufim one Fiana Coca. Into the Brena almost free. Omule no so na omaba omo koka so no omule no so nti ama traffic now I am very massive to the sense that even police officers, MTTD personnel are having a very difficult time, controlling the traffic situation.
And I just say utie me to see and appreciate the issue better no over Facebook you can see the videos no one who said the new mercy how ensure na je kwan no afa and the massive traffic in the Maxwell from your experience sisi no say obi fi Accra ba be se akokaswa ana say ofri Budumburam through Kaswa ba Accra.
Yeah.
You would advise say onya another route bianca onyusu on.
Another route look a bit difficult because it appears this is the only route. It looks like commuters really do not have a choice, but would say at the end of your agent sana. Our advice is if you are at the corner of Kwakoye or Accra, maybe I'll be too upset because the traffic is very serious. And, a bomb has a 4-5 for the corner. Rush hour, I just don't want to imagine what is likely to happen on that stretch. Because you move around 1 o'clock, and usually the afternoon too. And within 5 minutes, Uber come baby officer Oko. That from Wager Choice to Toll Boots around 1 o'clock, and taking about 45 minutes to get here. Until after 4-5 officers are upon school phone now upon their day. You should not J half of the road after now. Almost force you also may use one more cockaswa lane. A bit terrible. And he said, "I didn't say on your edges. I would advise commuters not to go out today because the traffic situation is really bad.
Wow, Maxwell, my nase, but I hope this is here and what me a bit traffic. Ne could be a more corner.
Sure. You be doing and she be a call.
Very well. My nase, be any best answer about Hobio. Why?
Sure.
Yeah, that's sure. Maxwell Agbagba. Or Joy News and Amotes here aiding giving us the situation on the Wager Kaswa stretch. It's that serious. I wish traffic nene how ensue na faka quina. And it's interesting because I wish ufri Wager toll booth na air bank shire. Unso behu bipobi ewo estro bibia asamwaja nfie ne esi wo stro no. That stretch be ensue to a ensue de twe atecha de begu kwanim. And the Ochra at the channel say about this time heavy. I'm a cars into me fam. In the meaning say that whole stretch of the road is almost blocked. In the ama traffic I am massive. Ewo ho. Share videos nenswa. It tells say indeed traffic I am. I don't know how we can deal with such situation because as the biano in so to na ejiri at the channel at the cheni igu car kwan so the nsuo na etata car kwan so e no be hwe ho no anytime on ba be car kwan ni bia nche na ase tutu because of nsuo ninti and it as if as a country we are resigned to fate e ho ne ye ho hwe a enye into obi ayi na ne obi ato na dwem And that's why the Highway Authority would have to be talking to us on Nyoma Omoye to deal with that particular stretch. And Sheda Emwa, it's become one too many. Into Amomi Yenshena Yentumini Hunkomoye, Ihia Papa. And let's come back to what happened Enra Ewo Pentecost Convention Center. And these are my own personal observations. Enra, as I listened, don't I me note it down, so pointy. I'll start with the good. Nyoma na me say a year about what happened yesterday. Number one, they say I think the organization was good. The Pentecost Convention Center presents you that good ambience for programs like this. Very spacious, good parking space. Baby park kama. The halls are good. In the ocean on video, Utumu say yes, it was really good because the halls were spacious. In the organization, near perfect. Kudos to the leadership of the youth wing led by Henry Nana Boache for that wonderful organization. And I also think, sir, it was good Dr. Baumia spoke. If for nothing at all, sir, Dr. Baumia as a person, as a politician, if he will be credited with BBR, and the fact, sir, he more often shapes public conversation until he will do a presentation, deliver a speech, provide data he thinks, say, tell you on a story. And then it would generate some kind of intellectual, conversation about the economy and some of the very, very important sectors of our economy and as of our country. It's good he spoke. In line with Nyoma Waye from oppositioner up until time Oba Abaimu. At least we are having the conversations we are having today because of his speech. And the fact that he has presented a certain picture and narrative around our economy. In the announcement, Emma, other people with different views and so to media eba. In he speaking was good. And I therefore disagree with Omua Eka say maybe the talking is too much and I was so concentrated here, Jumana Ujai Kasa any other. That is to say, people discounting the power of communication. And I tell people, say, communication should not be downplayed. Never. In any endeavor, you don't have to downplay communication. In Osha, the greatest leaders of the world have, to some extent, been defined by the speeches they gave, the messages they put out. In Osha, our own Nkrumah. Nkrumah is revered for that historic speech on my the inauguration, I think, of OAU at the time, 1963. Solid speech. You can name them. All the great leaders, Ababe saying echo, ain't omu defining moment. Sometimes now a speech is how deliver. Ain't we don't have to discount the importance and the power of communication. And sometimes in crisis, the amount for pennies, they would want to hear from their leaders. And the principle of he coming out to speak, I think it's good. In his speech, Ninsu provided some data to back some of the pointer already, which said earlier, a bois shape conversation. And for me, the first good thing is that he decided to speak. Number two, I think one other good thing, and it's he somehow admitted to the fact that the economy is in crisis. And that admission in itself is not bad. It sets the tone for the conversation, Enra. In Osha, the first two paragraphs now, and making the point, say, yes, the economy is in crisis, and he admits that. And I think to even quote him, okay, say in this lecture, I will address these questions based on data and facts. I will admit where there are challenges, and hopefully we would all leave here with a better understanding about the state of the economy, where we have come from, where we are now, and where we are headed. In when it set the tone for the entire lecture, in that admission, said Nyomamu Ayedin was good. I mean, the issue really would be about only view of the Ekosiise crisis I won't see. That is why I think there is a huge debate about Ayebekum in his view of what has caused the hardships now admitted to is what is generating the whole debate and you better take time now yetimi akom. And I think yes, he admitting send you remember was also good. It showed forthrightness and all of that. Number 3, from listening to him, is that for the first time I've heard a government official attempting to tell the Ghanaian people Nyoma Omaye with the loans Omaje. And if you listen to him, and I made specific note of that, says he spent time to list some of the project loans Omaje no aye den akum. You get it. But the point is, say the loans and the debt stock, loans are Omaje any debt stock. What has been the conversation is the debt stock. A move from 120 to almost 400 billion Ghana cedis. The point is the projects are listed, are the projects not commensurate with the level of borrowing, and it's a conversation we can get into. But this is the first time I've heard a government official vigorously make the point about loans ayaji bebrebeno project idea yeni listed our project which I thought was also good. It is something new about conversation anymore. Now we can take the NPP administration on say loans are margin project so we can now calculate the value of all those projects, and then we would subtract that from loans are margin, and we will see sikana akano and no echoing. So it also helps the conversation, which I thought was really good. At least as far as I'm concerned, and in my humble opinion, these are the things I thought was good about what happened yesterday. Now, I remember share what I think was bad. The bad now. In the area, the good. Let's look at the bad. It was on this show, and Dr. Gideon Boakon Ebe announces, Enra, the 7th of April, the vice president will speak to the nation. At the time, Wanka platform, what he said, is a central region. Later, and a bar out, said it will be on a TESCON platform. In the Enra, in fact, for the past 2 days, TESCON, any Dankwa Institute, a training and orientation, edema, TESCON members across the country. Until later, you say, yes, our platform, this is not Dr. Baumia, Ebekasa. I think, in my humble opinion, say the platform for a speech like this was wrong. And it's the first thing I noted under the bad. And this is what I said. The platform used vis-a-vis the mood of the country was wrong. A neutral platform would have been better. And what it means, they say, so already the mood of the country now, where Obia Ekase Omainimuayede hardships, Ekoso, this is when you need the leader to speak. And mind you, say already, we've heard from the finance minister following cabinet retreat, President Ankasanswa Kase was State of the Nation. And this was built to be a big thing because in opposition, Dr. Baumia carved a niche for himself. And he's been probably the most active vice president when it comes to economic matters and the economy in general. This was built to be a major speech. And I'm thinking, say, if it was supposed to be a speech, Ebema or mine who baby yejina, a rally around a common purpose, and say, this is our situation, this is what we are doing, and this is where we hope to go. Then maybe a neutral platform would have been better. And by neutral platform, I mean, time and opposition. Or you sue the Central University platform, for example. Academy of Art and Sciences can organize something, he would go there and speak. And I am thinking, sir, the choice of platform being a highly partisan platform for a speech that was supposed to speak to the country and address us on the critical issues about the economy, a neutral platform would have been better. And this will lead me to my second point, I think, not bad about what happened. The partisan nature of the platform probably also influenced the content and the framing of the speech. And that was the second point I noted. It is also because we run a political economy and you have political parties competing for space, to come and rule. In the Biano, our system is a very competitive space. Very, very competitive. And the parties would likely try to compare records. In the meantime, me say, in the Osha, anytime a politician be a partisan platform, the tendency say, or best slide into the comparison of records, they are high. And that, I think, is the situation Dr. Bawumia found himself in yesterday. In Osha, even when the mood of the country did not require necessarily the comparison of records, that is what happened because of the platform. Because you are addressing party people, they want to be charged and they want to know, say, yeah, dear saying NDC for or more criticizing. It's likely you would slide into a speech of comparison of records. And I think that's what really happened to Dr. Bawumia Enra. But I'm thinking, say, as he set the tone, say, the speech will tell us where we have come from, where we are now, and where we are headed. What I think the Ghanaian people wanted to hear, generally, it was not about now NDC for you saying you admit said there are hardships. This is what we have done. This is what we will do. And this is what we want you to help us to do to get out of this situation. Simple, Because yes, I say when it's different from all the speeches we've had. Because an election year, fair deal, and your problem. That one you would slide into the comparison of records. This speech and what it was built to do really was not for the comparison of records. And I think the choice of the platform and it is hard and buy. And that is my point number 2. Number 3, I also thought the speech was a bit too long. It was a bit too long. And I believe it's partly because a large chunk of the speech it focuses on digitization. And I found it interesting because Dr. Bawumia had a whole lecture about the digitization driver what championing in this government. So every Ghanaian knows the strides he has made in the digitization agenda, and what it means to our economy and our forward march. There was a whole speech on that. I was quite surprised. Bare 1/3 of the speech everyone was dedicated to digitization. It took a long part of the speech. If you realize, in my speech near and what it does, they say, at a point people begin to lose interest. Even though there will can be in here, but you find people losing interest. And I thought that whole thing around digitization, could have been shelved, at least from Enra's speech, Because about 2-3 months ago, a whole speech was dedicated to that at Osei University. Why it was virtually the same things were repeated Enra in this speech that was supposed to tell us the state of our economy now was a bit interesting. I thought I also can NMA speech and that part could have been taken out, to shorten the speech a bit. Now I crisp and punchy. So I thought that bit also was bad. My final point on what I thought was bad. Since November last year, the most topical issue are shaping conversations in our country, E-levy, whether you like it or not. Since November last year, after the presentation of the 2022 budget by the finance minister, E-levy became a topical issue. It became a topical issue, And even after CCCI passing, the controversy around it is still there. And then once OBOTA speech, E-levy was mentioned, I think, twice or three. I mean, I'm not too sure. I think I heard it twice. So it will be TB Kanhua. I don't know. And twice, the vice president spent time on it to really deliberate on E-levy. Can in person, And I was thinking, sir, because of what E-levy means to our economy now, and what government communicators have made us understand, sir, it will really help in our recovery from the impact of COVID. At the center of the economy and Bibiano, E-levy. You can't discount it. Also, the impact on the digitalization and digitization drive, E-levy is also still in there. And I was thinking, sir, it should have been a critical part of the speech, Enra. So the Ghanaian people know. Because President, State of the Nation, yes, President said it in person, it's been passed and all of that. The Finance Minister, and so they address how, they not really spend so much time on E-levy. So we thought, sir, Dr. Baumia would have spent a bit more time on that, especially because of its impact. So it's a very, very, very critical point. One other thing, a general observation, which I think would also shape the conversation, and we'll delve a bit more into that. In the Mekai say, Dr. Baumia admitting say we are in economic crisis was good. Maybe what will generate a whole debate going forward. The causes of the crisis. He tried to give us some of the possible causes. Of course, COVID was high on the agenda. The Russia-Ukraine war was high on the agenda. And also he mentioned two very important points. And so the banking sector cleanup and the payment of capacity charges, excess capacity charges. And Osha Okasas have 3 line items. Abo mine kabe 50 billion. But 50 billion, as a COVID, contribution to 50 billion in the Sakra woman. Inti, you wonder, say, going forward, what would this mean to the impact in the crisis we are now? Is it COVID or the banking sector cleanup or the payment of capacity charge? Because in the last 6 months, 7 months, as a banking sector cleanup, any payment of capacity charges, what will be made to believe more? COVID. And nobody will discount the impact of COVID. But as I share 50 billion now, if indeed COVID and the major cause of the crisis are, it should be the one contributing more to the 50 billion. But I seem saying, and I'm just throwing this out. Maybe when we sit, now you call details into the discussion now, we'll get into that bit. Now, apart from COVID, we know, say, according to the Vice President, the ama ahutre wom sisia aban banking sector cleanup and a payment of capacity charges. The other thing, so they say, banking sector cleanup and payment of capacity charges, were heavy in the first term. I don't know if they are still impacting in the second term. And I say it is, but we'll get into that discussion some more. These are my general observations, the good and the bad, of what happened yesterday. You can feel free to also share your opinions on what you heard and what you make of what you heard, Enra, from our Vice President. One of them, Abdul Malik Wekubako in Adrin Chaba, Osei, But did the platform used exclude the larger audience not there? Was there a segment for Q&A? If not, then what was wrong with the platform, especially when the things said on that platform could still be subjected to interrogation and critique, which is what is happening post the presentation. As you have said, the president and the finance minister had already used national platforms to indicate what the state of the nation was prior to the VIP's presentation. I think the choice of platform was not a fatal omission. My two persuades. And he says, the presentation was telecast to a larger and wider audience. In the absence of a Q&A segment, nothing essential was lost or missed. That's Abdul Malik Kwekubako and so Adrian Chra or Diaba. Let me get onto the line while we pick a man for views on what happened and at the first. John Jenapo, member of the Finance Committee, MP for Yape Kosogo. Honorable Akwa Badapom to say.
Oh, many of them also be brave.
Yeah, Danya Miase.
But your line here clear.
Yeah, I think it's better. It's better.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better.
Because you were Adamus, Parliamentary Select Committee, I wanted to know if maybe I'm clear.
Oh, okay. Adamus, meaning I'm on Nkrofu area. Oh?
Exactly.
Okay. Wow. Enti where the Parliamentary Select Committee and you rebre. And the would hear from the Vice President, no. With impressions, me pacho.
First of all, my main started this quick basis. Ghana. I want you to many workers say inflation a year drew 18%. Food prices currently de-inflation no more which means that fuel price is at an all-time high. In fact, what Dr. Bamiakura's statement, the only country or the from Africa or say fuel price is cheaper than normal is Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe date sanctions go almost no. Our fuel is the highest among 33 African countries. Bloomberg CAC depreciated by 18% in just 3 months. Your net reserves are dropping from 8 billion to 5 billion. Your debt to GDP and at the 351 billion. In fact, at 80%. In Tinania year when he said the net transport first air cost. Dr. Bomia, you're head of economic management team. But share your crime. But my expectation be the Kasachre now you come on to you say, yeah, quite nimno, and Yama every year. Obi young can and read the comments on your My Joy online. I've been following them. Did Dr. Bamia do that? Did he profile any solution? Did he talk about any long-term, medium-term strategy be dealing with these issues?
You didn't hear any solution from the speech you heard?
Say what?
One solution be
What solution did he profile? He came complaining. He spent a chunk of the time complaining and blaming COVID. Obi, a major problem are you facing there? CD depreciation. And I'm a How does the Ukrainian war affect our CD depreciation? Because we see is the trend of your CD against other currencies. Anti-COVID still affecting Liberia, affecting Nigeria, affecting US. And I'm a Ukrainian war affecting all African countries in the whole world. And I'm a in the other Ghana, yeah, currency, Bloomberg has described it as one of the worst currencies in the whole of Africa. Woman COVID. Other countries, woman Ukrainian war. And they are downgraded here to the lowest level ever in the fourth Republican dispensation. And yet, Dr. Bamia say, COVID, where is the nexus between COVID and the CD depreciation?
Did he say, in fact, Honorable, did he say categorically say CD depreciation because of COVID in here? And as he said the general economic conditions are a woman and a year partly COVID related.
Let's take it as COVID related. Does it not affect the other countries? Because the exchange rate is between your currency and that of other countries. He established the popular Baumia exchange rate fundamental theory. Say I will say COVID in petrol price cost. We can discuss that. But to say COVID in Ghana and currency no. It's so because of COVID against other currencies. That is most unfortunate. And this shouldn't come from a vice president. He should know better. Because the COVID no. In fact, countries export oil no. Their currency should rather be depreciating. Because they don't have oil to export. Go and check the Bank of Ghana financial statistics. From December 2021 to date, crude price are increasing. Gold price are increasing. Cocoa price are increasing. Countries are only cocoa, only gold, only crude. Their currency is performing better than the Ghanaian cedi. And then you make this analysis of averages. Was it 2019 before COVID?
Yes.
He himself says 2019, your trade balance, it was positive 2.2 billion. Trade balance is simply the trade between only other countries. If your trade balance is doing well, why should your currency depreciate? Meanwhile, in 2019, the cedi depreciated by 12.9%. The worst, even compared to 2016. Here now, I want to say, economy, everything was okay, no? The cedi depreciated by almost 13%. You can check the records. That year, oil revenue, only $1 billion. Yes, it is so. 1 billion in 2019. This is a government that has gotten 18 billion cedis from ESLA. They've gotten over 24 billion from oil revenues. They've borrowed over 12 billion from the Eurobond. Kufuor, Mahama, any Atamil, woman borrow up to 5 billion. Wunkwawa borrow more than 12 billion. And when you are failing, instead of you to be honest, you decide that you go and pick MPP apparatchiks from Tesco. Minia, thank Dr. Bamiako, yes, meeting you on a normal town hall meeting. And he says, energy sector capacity charges, almost 17 billion. Obi, I sent you a WhatsApp message.
Yes, I've seen it.
A free parliament, official records. Can Oforiata appear before parliament? Parliament is the house of records. You besides the sense of our office. Over the past 4 years, capacity charges were saying. Was it energy payments our your capacity charges? Total energy payments are less than 1 billion. And now you receiving an exchange rate of 8. Will you get 17 billion?
Yeah.
Will you get 17 billion?
But you realize, Honorable, that question from your colleague, is it a Tamale North MP, was specific on 3 IPPs. And the answer Honorable. You and I know, sir, the IPPs we have in this country capacity charges, and they are more than 3.
These are the only IPPs that we pay capacity charges to. You don't pay capacity charges to Asogli.
Yeah,
you don't pay capacity charges to all of them. We were specific. We want to know IPPs that would pay capacity charges, Emma.
Yeah, but
secondly, I have the records from the ECG.
Your colleague, I think Alasan Sweeney, mentioned the 3 IPPs or person minister be responded to. I think it was AXA, Car Power, and Sen Power. He was specific on the 3. And the minister
I am telling you, I'm giving you additional information, Obi.
Okay.
So apart from my colleague's question, ECG appeared before us and provided us with evidence on capacity charges. Throughout, all the capacity charges emanate from ECG. It's not up to even $1 billion. Inti Africa now all bono. Again, the and what boom. Our pedal 4 figures. Let them give us the details. I have the details from ECG and I'll send it to you. How can the vice president present that information? I don't believe it. It's so embarrassing. Even the figures are not correct.
Okay. And going forward, Honorable, and said now we can solutions near Deno. The biggest problem we face now, in your own words, the cedi to dollar depreciation. your solution will be what? Honorable. Too bad. Too bad. Too bad. Too bad. Too bad. John Janapa Homano article. We'll work the lines and get him back. Now, what he thinks will be the alternative solution. No, now with me at the Amayen, especially on the bit about the CD to dollar depreciation. Very, very, very important. Okay. We say. So we'll share. This is the 2021 expenditure in advance of appropriation for January to March 2021. Wednesday, 28th October 2020, submitted by Ken Oforiatta on the authority of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. This statement, no, point number 12 say, okay. Let me see. It is, Krobia, I don't know what this is responding to. Intima, my so I can put it in perspective. Now, yetumi akaima obianso atene ho ase. Ekosiisen On Asempa 94.7 FM. Where say Obi, why do you think Dr. Bawumia shouldn't have again emphasized on digitalization? I think in recent times, his critics and members of the opposition, especially Eric Ejay and Sami Jemfi, repeatedly on your program have said he has run away from economics and discussing the economy, and all of a sudden jumped onto digitalization or IT. So what he tried to do is to draw a dichotomy between the economy and digitalization, or the link between the digital economy and the real economy. He did mention how revenue has increased and improved through digitalization. Example was the e-ticketing of the recent Black Stars against Nigeria march. Over here, Obi, when oil is hard to find, and when found, instead of 1.19 euros, it's now selling at 7 euros, all due to the Russian-Ukrainian war. Onel Amponsa in Amsterdam, and Odiwe Abre Onel. Thank you. Where is Obi? Listening to you, listening and explaining what you think is bad on Dr. Bawumia's speech makes me confused. He spent time to talk much about digitalization and you call it bad, but in another breath, you don't understand why he didn't speak more on the e-levy, because it's very important to the economy. Is digitization not equally important? Didn't Finance Minister speak at length about it? Again, you find us answering of critics like John Jenapo, but yet you bring in John to do more politics and less economics. Partisan criticism is okay, but partisan response is bad. Kwame Ejay Asante, Poncho, Ewo Bubuashi, and Odiwe Brain. This one says, Obi, as for the platform, it could not have been better than what he chose. I guess the President and Finance Minister have already addressed the nation in Parliament. Okay. Thank you. Where's Obi? I disagree with you about you saying it was not necessary for Bawumia to compare issues in his speech. We in the diaspora want to hear that. I, for instance, did not hear anything about his digital speech on the Ashesi University. We in the diaspora are happy about the time he spent on the digitalization issue. On the e-levy, it already passed. So what do you want him to discuss again? Obi, there is hope in Ghana's economy in the near future. Mr. President in Denmark and Odiwe are praying. Obi, the project listed by the VIP, as the VIP said, are only for external loans and not all loans. Okay, thank you. This one says, Obi, give NDC people 10 years. They can never get a good response to what Dr. Bawumia said yesterday. NDC simply does not have the men to match Dr. Bawumia. Fussein Salifo, Kaswa Zango, and Odiwe are praying. Dr. Edu Owususa Akodie, economist, ma yenko na yeneno ininko yenyo no so na dwenche on Enra, what the Vice President had to say. Doc, Ekosiise On Asempa FM akwaba bibi aboko there.
Nyamia de bibi aboko bi chia busiafo nso nyina.
Ebusuafo nyina agye so. Enra me gidi say ojemre etimi tie nsem a Vice President edi to dwa no ebi. Now, initial reaction to what you heard, okay,
my initial comments is so when you need to catch here and your money be free on paying finance minister ho. The way church painted the picture of how the economy was before they took over in 2017 and how they ran the economy onto COVID struck, and then how things have gotten out of hand also because of the Russia-Ukraine war. And in the more year to bring back the economy. And something ran through all their speeches. It's here, the SCA, and the more year for I think it was necessary for the finance minister and the president to have their speeches around this shape. And most importantly, Dr. Bawumia, the head of the economic management team. And also, I think many Ghanaians were calling for his speech, his usual presentations. Even he was doing that before they won power in 2016, sorry. And I'm sure I now opposition party, even I'm sure President Mama Kra called and say, where is Bawumia? He's hiding. And so there was every reason for the Dr. Bawumia personally to come out and tell Ghanaians, and your driver, Ghana free to car back, driver on the man paying a bit actually. And she said, car no time, no pim. So now also chair via Jintina car not time no man, your man koye. And again, I offer all ya for home. Ama and your man no Ghana, you can't say, sick as no at yes in the them. And it was expected. Most of the things he said, they were expected. And I've told you, sir, because they were the very things that ran through the speeches of the minister and then the president in his sona.
Okay. And see, as an economist yourself, looking at where we are now as a country, did you find the speech address Nyoma ye go through CC as a country?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, I didn't Ghana for you go through your long-term things. Employment will be a job creation there is the number one on everybody's list. Maybe Samia, my number one problem in this country is a bit creative jobs. Number one solution, sorry. And it's a bit creative jobs. And the idea that untouchable. But again, Abu Boom and Siyama and Yoma Ajija. Yenfa public debt. The public debt, Yoma Ben a running public debt. A budget deficit in Kwa account to about 48% of the public debt. The exchange rate accounted for 28% of the public debt. And off-budget borrowing accounted for about 23% of the public debt. A year off-budget borrowing, it is a financial sector cleanup, any independent power producers are debt and energy debt. Sanko for now, share the last 2 years or 3 years. And I raise the public debt in the financial sector cleanup, the energy debt, and then also COVID. And let nobody underestimate the effect of COVID. COVID, a higher, I'm kind of say country be the global economy. And also Oboho, as any city depreciation. And also the Ghana and EPS economy to say at your can say Okojoma and Yoma Boyadi. And today into the Yoma Boyadi. City not depreciating. City not depreciating, sir. And now I'm not transport first. A fuel price, but fuel price cost for normal transport first and so on cost. Say nipa na oton mekono ana tomatoes no. Ofa car Okojoma, because of far car no. Yet to cars come and John also the biato, the tomatoes are all cumulatively no. Amanyoma ebo akosro. Eye COVID and so they didn't get a boom. Russia-Ukraine war, and so they didn't get a boom because you can't fertilizer, you can't heat, you can't iron ore, no my, you can't, the free. Can I say Russia and Ukraine, and China, says, and I want to now I will see a cousin. I get back what I'm said, President, the names or can be about Canadian or any remittances, the inflow of remittances. They say, or man, be our children, the remittances crying, Ghana for the boom, Brian, said, you will be be another food will be a man or caca. Now, so they are show half father. And then that's coming in a martial show because almost more, but you know, so much room. Now, the number of program be so uncomfortable, won't be a phone line, uncomfortable, be brief, which they say, Muntin send remittances, Emma. And so this is the depreciate here. And also, or can depreciate or can say, yeah, import dependent economy, which is a long term problem. I work, medium term problem, so inability to, generate domestic revenue because one generates domestic revenue, or be or in dollars. And you have to service the debt. And to make issue, see the now service the debt. And can I say, I buy so into me and call Eurobond market in the first quarter of the year because of the downgrading. Into one to me and your dollars are more men. At the same time, almost so who do government bonds, also selling, they are selling government bonds. Until one, there's so much demand for dollars, and two, I didn't more supply for dollars and also and now I see it depreciate this few weeks, In terms of also 1 from public debt to inflation to exchange rate to here, but the American said, I did Ghana for here party, which has been a long term problem. You try set the resolve with we need to industrialize one district, one factory near factory should know almost be, but may you sure say it's I won't have a brain count, not amount for near Juma. Mr. So being a Juma will be sorry now or call it Juma. Oh, and I kind say, oh, I won't be brave or I want you to be at because said you are down the mountain or be gonna catch you, I know the Chiani bills. But in the background, if you know when you're Juma, now ma who check it to every crown, I have problem cashier be brave. And he admitted said there's a problem. And he also started telling us one by one what the government has started doing. And I think as an economist, what I wanted to hear, I heard it. And most importantly, it's not always about the problem, lamenting about the problem, but to offer solutions. And I think that he stated in his speech that the government has already started doing something. It was contained in the finance minister's presentation, it was contained in the president's soda, and he also reiterated the point. So the government is doing something.
And those things you heard, sir, or say about are they the big things are you here to change the structure and the course we are on now?
Yeah. For anybody to change the structure of the economy now, your economic policies or programs, we have the short-term program or policy, the medium-term policy, and the long-term policy. We're starting free. Long-term policy there. And no I do be here and say you be industrializing. That is a long-term policy. That is what we need to change the structure of the economy. We cannot continue to be importing almost every single item into the country because every importation is a depreciation to the city. Every importation is an exportation of jobs to those countries. Until Okoka pure water, if we be a Kobisu Cote d'Ivoire, Eba Ghana, Omo pure water or Cote d'Ivoire, Omona creative jobs are more, not Ghana jobs, no, and so no Ghana 40 Omonia Juma. So this country needs to industrialize, to save the exchange rate, to create jobs, and to transform the economy. That is a long-term solution. I also will be an audition argument, and we need a plan for that so that we can follow it successively. The second, the medium-term solution is for us to mobilize domestic revenue. We cannot continue to be running huge budget deficits because every budget deficit be running there, you need to borrow for it. And unfortunately for us, our current public debt is so huge, the government cannot continue to borrow at this rate. They have to slow down with the borrowing and turn their attention to domestic revenue. And that is why I'm particularly happy about e-levy, and I'm also happy about the property rate. I'm happy about the tax exemptions bill that he talked about, because this country is losing between 4 to 6 billion cedis every year due to tax exemptions. So if the president is saying, the government is saying that they're going to do something about it, it is a step in the right direction. Now, the short-term solutions. No matter when you force in Yankanimu to Tinkane, and to say, Ujankanimu, I was so free in Kanimu, and some not to Tinkane. And the short-term solution, I will be free in Kanimu, are the very things that the finance minister outlined. And I'm sure the president and the vice president just reiterated the point. First of all, that expenditure cut, because the scanner is significant. Yes, I agree. But the gesture, the position, the posture, government, take it, they understand the hashes, so they are doing something. It was necessary. The immediate thing are not a high or many prior exchange rate. Who call it? Bobby said the same. You know, cry. Exchange rate now because after taking tomatoes or ton. And today are buying area to arrest the depreciation of the city. Yet, Governor, Bank of Ghana, say or pump about 2 billion or whatever or increase policy rate, or no share or the buy monetary side.
Yeah.
And China finance minister and so then the fiscal policy measures and so by now to arrest the city depreciation, because the city exchange rate, and then they're driving up inflation. And also they pushy interest rate. And the idea pushy interest rate in inflation. So termina, remember inflation is also a slow down. Remember interest rate is also a slow down. And the first thing is that exchange rate. I don't know what you have for exchange rate now. Like I said, demand and supply. There is so much demand for dollars because of the post-COVID recovery. Amount for businesses. I think that businesses are collapsing COVID time. I think sorry. Today I buy every dollar I bought. Strategy, I take a short-term strategy. I'm not sure that ministers will be make us say the Bianco was here. And I'm a short-term measure because they needed to pass the e-levy to have access to the capital market to borrow externally to bring in dollars. That was necessity. And the government has done just that.
But that will mean, the plan in the short term will be to securitize e-levy, Now, the external borrowing.
Not necessarily securitize. You can as well go and borrow and then service your debt with any form of revenue.
Okay.
Securitization, you are just committing a specific revenue. So you are saying, sir, you're going to borrow, say, $3 billion, and e-levy and other cost of debt. And then you turn to securitization or collateralization. But there's another form of borrowing, so you can just make it open. So we will see $1 billion. But the other service debt, that brought so the government needed, in fact, I have written an article which is read worldwide. Identifying or justifying why the government needed to pass the e-levy to have access to the capital market. And I wrote that article in February, 20th February, and I made a point that within the shortest possible time, whatever the government should do to pass the e-levy, they should do it. Even if it came to just adjusting the framework, maybe reducing the rate or excluding some people from paying, whatever adjustment that NDC was suggesting or any other analyst was suggesting, they had to do it, pass it. Because what you mean, we see the no depreciation, sir.
Yeah.
Depreciation, and no one so broke a question to bend. What we see, in the short term, I am not condoning too much borrowing, but what I'm saying is that to pass the e-levy and have access to the capital market was a necessity. It was non-negotiable position. And the government did just that. And I'm happy they have done that. The market has already started responding. I go to a time, some few days ago, the city was rather appreciating against some trading currencies. And so the market has already responded. the government has done exactly what was needed to calm the market, to restore confidence, both the confidence from Ghanaians and also the confidence from the international investors. And that's what they have done.
The
and
other thing,
I don't want them to end here because it's a short-term measure.
Okay.
I don't want them to end here at all. Property rate, tax exemption, no money, because you sky or your money. Young Kobosia show our money and my how no and yakase. And the short-term measure no my the same no more but no money or moncoso and near domestic revenue. Now industrialize it. No man on fan into my pen.
Doc, as a researcher yourself, no minimum say who are interested in what happens at least in neighboring countries and so or more economy anyhow and you may see echo. The criticism, of this administration has been say the reference to COVID in recent times, Russia-Ukraine war, no say and only idea back a higher economy Nepal. Critics say na say COVID affected Nigeria, affected Cote d'Ivoire, affected Togo. Other than in those countries, no, or more currency in depreciated said ye aye, or more debt to GDP and cost so said ye aye. How do you respond to that from studies of all those economies? What if Ghana Diana at saying?
Okay. So what was the situation before COVID? Ghana, most of the indicators were good before COVID. Most of them. But me specifically, I before COVID struck was the fiscal position, that's domestic revenue. And yet of course, also can be blamed for the taxes that the because they even admitted in their budget, say, with the abolishment of those taxes, they affected the revenue generation. Yeah. And it's in the budget. I'm not the one saying the finance minister said it, admitted it. So there was little contingency plan for the abolishment of the taxes. So domestic revenue growth rate, was low before COVID. So inflation was good, GDP was growing 7%, inflation was in single digit, depreciation of the city was around 3%, and all the other indicators looked good. They had a primary balance, surplus, and all that. But the fiscals, revenue generation, any expenditure, the gap between expenditure and revenue, budget deficit was, even that one was around 4%, less than 5% of GDP. Mm-hmm. But they could still do better. The public debt was high. But in Myanmar, a pushy public debt no cost. Before COVID, it was the financial sector cleanup and the energy debt. Mm-hmm. These were the plus the traditional budget deficit and exchange rate. These were the main drivers of the public debt before COVID. And see, the aside fiscal position, all the other indicators looked good before COVID. Now, COVID
before talking about COVID, no, on the first 2 points you raised, it is OSHA banking sector cleanup now, and Enra, the vice president alluded to that. So banking sector cleanup now, you bought 25 billion Ghana cedis to rescue the banks. OSHA, your friend is saying energy debt, capacity charges, excess ones, so now around the. Is it 16 billion or thereabout,
Yes.
It is a uka 2 ni bomua. Na ode uka sa 2 ni kwabo uyi COVID through na uka sa 2 ni bomua. It is less than 50 billion. And yes. When you are looking at where the public debt a jump koko drew, na ote sa mienu efrimua. Those two cannot just be the reason why a public debt ne cost Rosa, no?
Okay, I didn't say those two non qua, and I think I made a point. Say the three main drivers of the public debt before COVID were the budget deficit 48%, exchange rate 28%, and then off-budget borrowing 23%.
Okay,
this were before COVID. And I may make a point. Say the budget deficit because your domestic revenue swap. And today we have a gap between the expenditure and the revenue. But
you never see a bubble shame, right?
So that's about 48% of the public debt. So that's point one. Point two, exchange rate. Between 2006 and 2019, exchange rate in the Ghana Kano 60 billion and a car exchange rate in the and when your fiscal cash will be because Ghana can be in dollars. Into $1,000 here. Exchange rate in 5,000 cities. So exchange rate in the cost 6 years. The same $1,000 no up from 5,000 cities to 6,000 cities.
Yeah.
Until between 2006 and 2019, exchange rate in the 60 billion cities and a car Ghana Kano. That's about 28%. And up budget borrowing energy debt in the financial sector and also back on 23%. And I agree with you saying but these were the three main components or the drivers of the public debt. Now, so what you are saying or what you are okay.
The first part, which is budget deficit, no, I
Yes.
only 48%, no.
Yes.
Which in simple terms, the gap between revenue I will collect and our
Yes.
expenditure, meboa. And
Yes.
I buy my who say the reason why I was say or more scrap it 17 taxes when they took power, no, was said they wanted to open up the economy and allow for more production, and through more production, no, I buy bit me and revenues, no, back. Is it the case, after the scrapping of those 17 taxes, no, and share the impact be and that's how comes till revenues dropped and we had to then borrow more.
Okay, so you share the timing. The timing is also important. Taxes now, 17 taxes, they were abolished in the year 2017.
Yes.
So obviously the 2017 revenue echo form. But don't forget, sir, revenue performance national American. Way back in 2006, it had been a problem with every government that came after 2006. I'm saying 2006 because the whole really epic initiative, you know.
Yeah.
At that time, no, now Sikawa, minimum, budget deficit, but because the public debt as a ratio of GDP was just 25%. And so the government that came after didn't see much need to raise revenue domestically. It was just borrowing and borrowing. And this was a problem that they came to meet. And this administration wanted to expand the economy by abolishing those taxes. And what happened to the GDP growth rate? It was, raised from 3.4% to about 7%. So did it work? Yes, it worked on that level. And I think in talking about taxing an economy, you should always be strategic. You look at the areas that office a tax no hedging and no year for. No, actually another area office all the tax no to the more revenue because let's look at the reason they gave for abolishment of those taxes. They were nuisance taxes, and this is how they define nuisance taxes. That they were, inhibiting growth. Okay, first of all, they had low potential revenue generating, rates, low potential revenue generating rates, and at the same time, they were inhibiting growth. So it was a nuisance, and they removed it. Now, if there be a nuisance, it will remove that. Then you go and look at another area. If you want revenue, you go and raise the revenue from there, and that is what they have done.
Okay,
because they have seen that the global economy, the African economy, the Ghanaian economy is going digital. So if you want revenue, you should go where the economy is expanding. The service sector takes about 53% of employment, the service sector, and about 39% of GDP. The telecommunication subsector of the service sector is the fastest growing subsector. So if you want any revenue, that is the area you look at. And that's exactly what they have done. So yes, it is true. The fact is there that when they abolished the taxes in 2017, the revenue, they could not meet their revenue projections. But what they have done is to forget about those taxes which are abolished and go and look at other areas to raise revenue. That's the e-levy, and that's exactly what they have done. So all these things were things that they were looking at, I'm sure, to look at. The thing about tax is that when we say, calculate GDP, tax is negative in the calculation of GDP.
Yeah.
So why do we tax? but the government expenditure multiplier on GDP is positive. So you take away the negative and go and give it to the government's positive with the hope that the government will spend it prudently so that the positive effect will outweigh the negative effect. That is why we take tax. Other than that, then nobody should collect tax. Because the tax effect on GDP is negative. That is what I think, and they have admitted. And in most of my research, I say, I didn't see a contingency plan in the year 2017 to replace the 17 abolished taxes. But now, if you ask me, do I see a contingency plan? I will say yes, and that is e-levy, and that's the property rate, and that is the tax exemptions that they want to tackle.
Okay.
Are we clear on that?
Yeah, I think it's clear. In the Yemra,
now we go to
COVID.
Sorry.
COVID.
Now we go to COVID. Again, and yet Ghana and COVID, no, it's true. But for the first time in many years, in centuries, you are grounded plane, you are close to border. When was the last time you lock it down? The Catholic government announced said the Arabia Bank you lock it down. And 77% of your economy is the informal sector. And you lock down Greater Accra, Greater Kumasi, and Kaswa. And these three cities, these three areas account for over 80% of your GDP. So you lock down 80% of your GDP in 3 weeks. What do you think will happen? Planes are not flying. Nobody is moving. You've closed your borders. Schools are closed. All the economic activities surrounding all the things I've mentioned are all closed. A typical example, Obiton, Wache, or Night Market, University of Ghana. University of Ghana are closed. You'll be at the Wache, one Ekoton, Wache. Bookshop, one Eko bookshop, Akoto book. Hotels in now closed because we'll be in two hotel. Let somebody tell me the last time all these things happen at the same time. Obi, if you have the information, just tell me. Just remind me of a year. Grounded plane, you're close to border, you're close to school, you're locking down Greater Accra, Greater Kumasi, Greater and Kaswa for 3 weeks. Just tell me the last time all these things were locked down for 3 weeks. And Tama, so a year lockdown, there were still restrictions. Beach, no, Bianco Beach, wedding, funeral, and you know the industry around funeral. Say me asantini 70 give me asantifo ni mayiye ukọ yiasia obi be jollof abeton obi beton tofe obi beton pure water sports stadium you closing na until all the economic activities surrounding all this lockdown were also themselves locked down. Okay, so it didn't happen to Ghana alone. It happened across the world. But this administration made us understand that they wanted to go ahead of the virus. And I think in most of the president's speeches said it, that he's prepared to sacrifice the economy for the lives of Ghanaians. And they did exactly that. And I supported them, and I still support them. And if, God forbid, something like that happens, they should do the same thing and sacrifice the economy for the lives of people, because the life of people is far better than the economy.
On the lockdown, the closures now can't.
Yes.
I think the argument has been said. All the other neighboring countries,
also
to two or more ports, so why was the impact on us that severe than the other country? Really, a hundred amount for a raise.
Alameka said the president made us aware. Said he wanted to go ahead of the virus, so he needed to go and borrow, which was necessary, and it is justified in economic theory that in times of economic slowdown, you borrow, spend prudently to save the lives of people and save your economy. And they did that. Many people are speaking against this subsidized water and electricity. I support it. The economic literature support it. Because when other countries were sharing money, physical cash, in Ghana here, how are you going to share physical cash? So you have to subsidize for people to do. What I understand why the burden on us has been greater is that's why I made reference to the high public debt before COVID. And I told you, sir, the energy debt and the financial sector if you take them away, the public debt as a ratio of GDP would have been in the 50s. But if you add these two, then the public debt as a ratio of GDP would have been in 60s before COVID. And so, if two items in Kwan can raise your debt GDP ratio from the 50s, I think my calculation it was around 56% to 68%. So if two items have increased your debt ratio to GDP from the 50s to 60s, then you can't say, sir, you can't underestimate that effect. So it had effect. So maybe compared to Ivory Coast or compared to Nigeria or compared to any other country, our existing public debt was higher before COVID. That is a fair analysis, and that I agree. But we know why the debt was high before COVID. And so I think I've answered that question that, yes, it is true that the public debt was high before COVID, but we know what drove the public debt from the 50s to the 60s.
And I know
now, I have done the Osei.
I know the banking sector cleanup.
Yes, any energy debt. I have done, I think Dr. Baumia yesterday said, well, in the calculation, the cost of COVID was about 17.6% of GDP in 2020 and 2021. I did my analysis, I think, 2 months ago. But I didn't use the figures for 2021 because I have not gotten the figures for 2021.
Okay.
I did for only the year 2020. And I submitted this paper for publication. And I argued in that paper saying that the fiscal impact on the Ghanaian economy for the year 2020 was close to 20% of GDP. And that's how I found that figure with all my calculations. And so Dr. Baumia used 2 years and got 17%. I used only 1 year and I got 20%. And so they are so related. They're so close.
And so the fiscal impact of COVID?
The fiscal impact of COVID on the economy. So in terms of your express as a ratio of GDP.
Okay.
And I got 20%. And Dr. Baumia got 17%, but Dr. Baumia used 2 years. Because 2021 still not COVID war. And I'm saying, sir, now fiscal table for 2021 and you're ready that at the time I made my calculation.
Yeah.
So I used only the year 2020 and I got 20%. So the cost of COVID on our economy was 20% of GDP. At the time I was doing my calculation. And now we are told by the Vice President 17% of GDP.
20% of GDP.
Yes, hello.
20% of GDP in your calculation, no? In absolute terms, never saying no. Yeah, can it seek a summer? Ever saying.
Okay, the reason I mean to mean kind in absolute terms, because it's a ratio A over B.
Okay.
Into the COVID fiscals, which is the Sikana Busianum Koboy.
Yeah.
And B, denominator no the GDP, but you must realize that COVID every GDP the projected about 6%, a tick of 0.4%. And see, then I have to find a figure for that from 6 to 0.4, then I can add it to the 26 billion. So the numerator alone is 26 billion. The numerator, the fiscal impact of COVID alone was 26 billion. But that is not enough to get a ratio because you must also estimate the down one. Okay? You must estimate the denominator. But because I was dealing with ratio, that's why I use only ratio.
Okay.
And see,
I get you.
A over B, any cost and a billion so conform into our effect, say. That is what I was interested in. But the question you are asking me there, you are asking me say how much and how much, the numerator no quite na make you catch it here. The numerator there is a mistake for calculated view. I'm the actual because I wasn't interested in the nominal. I was interested in the percentage of GDP. Okay. So that is there. The effect of COVID cannot be underestimated. You can raise questions about accountability. You can ask the government to come and account for the monies. It's a fair argument. And I think I support that the finance minister should come to the floor of parliament and render accounts of all the COVID expenditure, I'm sure he will do it. And again, I have also stated somewhere, said, even before people were asking for accountability, they have already stated in the budget, 2020, 2021 budget, what they use the monies for. So if you are looking for maybe item, I don't know how the parliamentarians do their things. Maybe how they do their things are different from what is written in the budget. But if I'm a researcher and I want figures and what they use the money for, I quickly just pick the budget and do my analysis with it. But maybe politicians have their own way of asking questions in parliament. So yes, it's a legitimate. I want to support NDC to summon the finance minister to render accounts, and I'm sure he will run away from it. It's a render account. He won't run away. He will account for it. And I know. And COVID no quite as you said, things were okay. Then we have the Russia-Ukraine war, and this also affected the global economy, affected the African economy, affected you. But one last thing on COVID, war. All of them say global economy grew negative, African economy grew negative. Ghana, you grew positive. Your other countries grew positive. And so plus, it was a good thing for us. I'm sure if the president had not done all the borrowing and gone ahead of the virus, it would have grown negative. And the impact would have been worse. I'm very sure of that. And it wasn't necessary for them to borrow, yes. Irrespective of the level of the public debt, the initial public debt. The issue is that the initial public debt was already high. And instead of COVID borrowing, and cost. But was it necessary to borrow during COVID? Yes, it was necessary. It was necessary, and economic literature supports it. Both theoretical and empirical literature supports it. Now, the Russia-Ukraine war, again, it has also affected the global economy, affected the African economy, and it's affecting the Ghanaian economy. And never been it get the Russia 4D and Ukraine 4D. The first thing that comes to mind is crude oil. Crude oil price and our cost rate. A buying budget is $60, $62 per barrel. The seminar can say it's over $100 per barrel. And no, again, say, and I'm a fuel price, a cost road, and no can be. A deal now, war also the bread, a fertilizer, Nancy, maybe or a Greek or Casana, Mr. Power say food security should be a concern for Ghanaians now because of the fertilizer shortage, because I'm confirming no more queen, almost a supply fertilizer. And I heard about 60% of our iron ore also comes from Ukraine and Russia. Okay, wheat. The idea bread, any somewhere idea bread in the and so I'm going to crew Muana, your cocker free. And Tama, how no I can say. Anna, see the news so I buy so into me and Kobabosia in the first quarter because that has been the strategy for most governments to do the short term borrowing as a short term measure to shore up the city. Either you deplete your international reserves or they borrow externally. It is not something I support wholly, but I'm saying is that it was a necessary short term measure for them to have done that. In fact, in some years back, there were governments that were depleting the international reserves to save the city. And the international reserves a year, $10 billion. When people are also do $2 billion. But they are saying that the city is stable. It's stable not because they are doing something right, but it's because they are depleting the international reserves. And the central bank was so reluctant to touch the international reserves. They were so reluctant, and I agree with them because of the war and the post-COVID, all things, there was so much uncertainties in the global economy. The uncertainties in the global economy is too much. You cannot predict anything. And so, the international reserves is your savings. And so if you can't predict anything, you don't deplete your savings or your international reserves. So you save it for, the lender of last is the last thing you touch. It's the last thing you touch. So if they have to go and borrow and save the city, it's better than to deplete the international reserves because of the uncertainties in the global economy, including the Ghanaian economy. So these things are the problems, and we cannot shy away from these problems. But it should not end there. The problem must be resolved. And I think as a country, we have sat down for some of these external shocks to hurt us too much. If we had industrialized, if we had built factories around across the country, the impact of COVID and the impact of the war would have been lesser than how we feel.
Yeah, because
we have failed ourselves as a country.
That was my final question.
We have failed ourselves.
That was my final question, Doc. Sir, a strong economy is strong to the extent of its resilience in the face of crisis, no? How resilient that economy is, no? And my economy, no, is strong. In our case, no, if a lockdown for 3 weeks at the okay, any adit me throw bibia haywire. Meaning that really it is not strong as we are made to believe.
Yes, it is not that strong because we have not transformed our economy significantly. When we speak here, I'm sure there are some entrepreneurs in Ghana who will say, "Oh, we have done well," and they have done well. I think AGI is the Association of Ghana Industries. They have done fantastically. There are some entrepreneurs in Ghana that we should all salute them. They are doing their best. But whatever industrialization we have embarked on has not changed significantly. My key word here is significantly. Has not changed significantly the structure of the economy. We are still the same import-dependent economy. I know you call lockdown and something not useful because the importing one will be for your goods. To go a typical household, I think they are used from living room to dining hall to kitchen. Almost everything is imported. After you close border, no will be issue. And see, so next time you close border, then you have to industrialize and produce most of those things. And are we doing that as a country? Not significant enough. And that I understand. I agree with you that that kind of structure hasn't changed significantly. Again, our economy is 77% informal. And so if you lock down, and most of the informal activities they require interpersonal relations. You need to interact, you need to talk to people. But if you say we should stay home, how are we going to do businesses online? You know, the formal sector was able to at least continue working, remotely, to work from home, be a Zoom meeting here day. But informal sector now require interpersonal relation, over there in the business online. And so on that level too, we haven't changed significantly. There's every need to formalize. We have to formalize the informal sector. We have to formalize the informal sector.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure. So they said, "Binyamin and China said, this are two BY. Nipa no meeting at Nefi, Aya Juma, Wabra, own here said, in business at the coffin. Now, Senka, schools are closely down. Senka, your internet is strong, your digital system is strong. And I said, you need to now hold lectures online. They go for year be. But then we say kindergarten for the society and say primary school for the mutina fiesta, I want to nya kasibia. And I want to nya bibia sa. And see in class na sa digital structure infrastructure no. Can say internet infrastructure no. We have to all that. And there's a lot to change the structure of the economy. Our economy is too strong and it's still not too strong. And we must not be complacent on the little achievement. We must move forward as a country.
Very well. Doc, my nurse and fancy Bibiania, your best answer be in Comobio. Why? Dr. Edu Owusu Sa Kodie, an economics lecturer at the University of Ghana, Department of Economics. And I'm going to say, AD and Como. Ekosiisen Suni, a high Asempa FM. But earlier, Honorable John Jinapo referred to, and I think I came in with questioner, Minister of Finance, it provided to a question, an urgent question filed by Honorable Al-Hassan Soheni. And as I said, the question was about 3 IPPs in the answer to parliamentary questions. And the point number 3 was, Mr. Speaker, the underlisted independent power producers have received payment for excess capacity charge for the period under review, 2017 to 2020, totaling $937.50 million US dollars. The breakdown is as follows. IPP, AXA, 347.20 million US dollars. Car Power, 359.00 million US dollars. And Ascend Power, 231.30 million US dollars. Indeed, the question was specific on the three companies or more
Ekosiisen On Asempa
excess capacity charges are buying Etria the amount. And the IPPs also are many. It maybe we would have to interrogate the others, no? And then we can juxtapose that to number Dr. Baum, we had to and see if the number is right and I say and you're right. But I remember the review Nankasa etumi the Abremo. Sami Jemfia Babe Cancer, only a national communications officer for the NDC. Remember na kwaba na afi yahwe atwa yen komono. So Sami boko there.
You go super so. At the patch ye dear. The Asedabe Menyame. Now also who ye dear.
Adam just say Oma studio hamfa document be say mada.
Oh, me tired the ba. To the beer, me the ba to the biswa.
Anyways. Ben Rasa would meet Dr. Baumia presentation maybe.
Mitimiti kakrebi. But what I did is a full speech in the Babonte. And I'm a printed been a demenim high 129 pages.
129 pages.
Yes, since my team kind of at least in prenu.
Hey.
Oh yes.
129 in
so we build him pay in training as lawyers in India. I can kind of
any problem.
And ra sana made that I came one no pay some sorry I'm a kind one at least
when you grasp off in somehow kind in
oh you kind no yeah you can't be a come.
I'm sure when you man Osei means that you've been inspired by the Okai
and they want
crying.
And they want us to cry meaning they won't jid the Okanini because BBN in someone or Mampenia Bediachi Alhaji Bawumia did 2 Janimua a shim crying. Rather no say oh kind na do this somewhere no the 2 Jana the more what kind and the more a shower before.
Oh
yes, because who say your Mampenia Bediachi no number 1 on Kanokre. No credit no say be in a no. And number 2, who say uni ubuni ni die de magana for and untina de biada ubejina simpi so say on your man for kasano utumfutro.
But to say it's a vice president Kanokre, is that a fair
on Kanokre? And what is unfair about that? On Kanokre, and we will show you a troa wedi. In this speech,
only data we're presenting is different from what you crowd. It doesn't mean so.
Only data now we're presenting. Say a nim and our bony stream are present here. A intro on Kanokre no. So there's a difference. That maybe what data A na obi what data B.
Yes.
So there's
yes.
And then the medium ko na also the uncle. But say adia no eye fita. Na your vice president beba bonti abeka say you tuntum na dance here da ho de. Just say, well, yeah. Dada or Dada for. And say, you're fitting common as okay, Obi. Penyezi yatetia betiana ne chanu ntino. Mamemfa me submission in fitiasi because then they are Semka. So let's deal with the able to me dealing with within the first part. Na yebe more near to us. So, nti, mamesa on chetty phobia. Uhe and Samoa. Mampenya abedi chedi 2 Jan Rana. Or to nidinse. State of the economy. Chese Ghana yensika sem jinabia ena omampenye bediechi ka se oba be ka ho asem akire because abedwoku a abamu wotumi na eye won adwuma se ototo Ghana sika yie no de from the economic management team no vice president Bawumia na eye omobando dani ona eda wona no enti yakoba se na nsen ahokyira ewo manimu ekosoro na egusu kosoro na Ghana fo bebre ekomu bu nipa bebre esu na yepese ya ti bibi fi empanyufo ano enkankan ne omampanya be de akira ono ne da yesika sem entoto ye nyina no na ye nte ne kan no na aye omanfo dodo na na ti no bi ebisa vice president when we tu bata na ana oda so wo manimu eno ne didi mu a utimu se akano a bon kusibona we shemu no say they will decide this will be pie aba na waba bekasa na nsem obeka no obi se wa mekasa kura nkeye because nsem no agu ono ne aban nanimu ase kura mo na te said the midi kan no in my intro no amana ba beda ho pefe se o mampenya be de chire no kura ni nanum na nya de so wo bu ni die magana fo na ansakra na me don nsem ni mu asuko no. First of all, let's look at the credibility of this man we are talking about. You see, the credibility of the message in here, but the credibility of the messenger is even more important. And see, omampenye be die cheba wumi enra kojina simpie so Pentecost Convention Center. Any MPP addition for a hodin komono. Who is he? He is the man Okojina Cape Coast, the capital town of Central Region. Emran year to Yababetu 2020 abato. Eka se Omampenye Kufuado Bawumia Benyi MPP Benyi si brand new harbor ewo Cape Coast. Wangaso mubesi o osi omusi. We are building a brand new harbor for the people of the Central Region in Cape Coast. Ye kwa hwehwe no na asase bia kra ni wa yesi harbor so na campus yetu foundation. Bibia say ni ho. In fact, utie ono ane boss President Ekufuado obeso o chere say ade no kra na nya de a na ban no kra dwen ho. No mo de elmi na ho ba bi na no mo dwen say fishing harbor bi ho mbe akopagem no ma ye ni ye. Na say ye kwa akosi harbor asi Cape Coast kra de enya de a na MPP aban na dwen ho. And so owura ya ye kana semi eye Alhaji Bawumia tini born srim ko dada mfimfi mantem for ne Ghana for say aban ni si harbor. Who are we talking about here? We are talking about omampenye be de chira in 2018 ogina simpie so ka chira omanfo say ko tala kwan fata Ghana. Asfata kwan emfata Ghana. Sapete kwan emfata Ghana. Ti Ghana akwanya ono na ban ba beye bia no se so mo ba beye concrete roads ti set them motorway. Kasa asem no 2018 ho baby. Minua. Ene hwe wo kwan a wo fa so ko krom. Hwe wo kwan a wo fa so ko adwuma. Hwe wo kwan a wo baby a wo tie region a wo wo. De he na ban na ya eye concrete road. Who are we talking about here? We are talking about the man Alhaji Bawumia. Ojina simpie so emra na opetu mi hye bo se Ghana fo ye wonmoa na yeto aba ma woni o mampenye Kufuado no mu bedi o man so a after bosomi du nwotwe achi no community bia ni Ghana ebenya ensuo anaja na bia how problem obi sa wo kaisa asem no. This is the man we are talking about. And ye misa ye ho say ensuo ni ejana problem ya solved in all villages and communities of Ghana. They said the Bawumia Jina Simpi Sukano 2016 nana. This is the same man who in 2018 or share say by 2020 na Ghana Nibia or bank account. This is the Alhaji Bawumia we are talking about. He is the same man who in August 2020 Kokroko Peace FM in an interview with Kwame Sefakai or ka say Ghana hiafo ne yusu mobile money. Enti momo de eni say ye tax na nya de aban we so e de tax e betu mumu so. And yet aban we e de e-levy kwansima omowe ni abewi omo de e-levy e ba betu mumu so no. Wapepa na no din a wadwane akota yente ne nka wo ho. So what am I telling you? We are dealing with a man who has no credibility. A licensed and a pathetic liar. The record.
Sorry, those are not very good words for the vice president. David. To call the vice president a pathetic liar.
And I will demonstrate. Okay, Obi.
Let's give Anna to who Anna is due. You can disagree with the vice president on the points he's raised, but to call him a pathetic and a licensed liar, no, it's a no-no.
So, so, Oka say na ban AC habo. E will keep kus na yedien. Yesi habo will keep kus.
And I may say,
Debbie.
you
Obi,
can disagree with anything.
it is not about disagreeing, Obi.
You cannot call the vice president alliances.
I will call him 101.
No. Sammy,
You ask the question. Let me answer.
Okay,
Okay, my lady. Ode kasa. Also kasa we na me mama answer. Jai me na me mama answer. So you speak.
When we say mabemu no, na say what can be a and was say what can.
Because you are wrong.
Me say, don't call the vice president a pathetic liar. It is not.
Obi, don't even say that.
Why shouldn't I?
If a vice president stands in course to say that they are building a harbor when they are not building a harbor, who is he?
But you just
what makes that him?
His boss coming out to apologize to the people of Cape Coast say, yes, it is a manifesto, but they can no longer do that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What was in the manifesto was that they will build a harbor. And you know, crowd wants them make. And no, they will be pan watch also to me. But Womia said they are building a harbor. Are they building a harbor in Cape Coast? And no mean disagree. Obi try.
The boss kind.
I don't know. Some trophy be motesa.
Yeah,
when if President Mahama na kabibi na nyano, won't you fact check him?
Not say President Mahama betra. Na so be betra catch them say President Mahama ye pathetic liar. You think I'm allowed?
If President Mahama lies, you can call him a liar. He has not told any lie, so you can't call him a liar unless you adduce the evidence. President Mahama nko jina baby ase wo seek habo ama Cape Coast for abra enya no kre. And na President Mahama nko jina baby anka say you can say akwanya na aban ba be concrete roads abra in the regions of this country you concrete roads bia. And na President Mahama enyina baby anka say Ghana ni bi ba benya bank account. No ma starting ho enso hye nyina by 2020 obi abenya bank account Abraham.
Are you saying everything he said he would do in government he was able to do it?
It's not even about that.
It does not make
let's even put aside the futuristic sayings. Yebeye no kwenfanto nchen. Ukojina simpi so say wusi habo. Wusi enye say wo besi. E wo Cape Coast na wusi awo yede. Ubeka say
I made my point. I don't think I am cool with you referring to
but I'm not here to talk about things that you are cool about. I am saying that the vice president.
This is my program.
No.
With the greatest of respect to you.
This is your program. This is your program.
Don't refer to the vice president as a pathetic liar.
I will refer to him like that over 10 times. It's an enemy yes argument because the more you do that, the more I will say more. Because, no, Obi.
You would listen to me.
No.
Sammy, listen to me.
No.
Listen to me.
Wakasa, I have listened to you. If you will allow me to make my point, allow me to make my
agree with the vice president. Yes. Don't call him a pathetic liar
I will
on
call
this platform.
Who Obi Oditro answer my questions too. Wakasa omusi habo wo Cape Coast na wanka. Say it here. Since this is your platform. When you bring us here, Obi, credit us with some respect. And you say you are defending the vice president. You bring us here to speak our opinions. My opinion is that the vice president is a liar.
I am not defending the vice.
So why are you saying?
You will not even.
You are saying that you are saying that if the vice president has lied, I shouldn't say it. Is it above reproach?
Hold on.
Asema make a crime, make a make a way I want some man, make a one some man. Why?
Because
you don't want us to criticize Bawumia.
Have I said
Bawumia didn't call President Mahama incompetent?
Have I said when criticize
President hold on, Bawumia unfair Mahama incompetent wonder?
Have I said don't criticize Bawumia?
That is what you are saying. You don't have to say that expressly.
Really?
You can't tell me not to call a man who lies a liar. What does that mean? What do you take us for? He called President Mahama incompetent one. And Obi mamenka masem and then some and mame like and say program no. So that is who he is. And I have abused
this straight, sir. I allow you to talk. Anytime I think you say something, and I will come in. And let's have that ground rule.
You can come in, but when you come in, and it is about something, Amaka and you know, cry, fantastic. But
if I think you are using abusive language, I have the right to.
There is nothing abusive about the word liar. What dictionary says that word is an abusive? That word is used to qualify people who lie. And unless you are saying, say, even though we have evidence that this man lies, we should not say it. I would have dealt with this later, but let me deal with it now. In his speech yesterday, was say excess capacity charges are buying we buy Ometuya, saying 17 billion cedis meboa. 17 billion cedis. So, finance minister, ono na aban betua sika bi ono ne tua. 2020 July, and Honorable Al-Hassan Suhini, a question say, Minister, yatese MPP communicators say, President Mahama, and Yama Wadin Kenyano, or Yemane Broso Kradodo. And to move back now, sweet, the Abrosono, or my name is Yaka, and only SS capacity charges. And with your strong Bramra Shebegum, that be catch saying, yeah, ye Gina Woma, Ghana Funinano. Sikado Dua Mobaye, Mochiano on capacity charges. Alasa Suyini, question will be saying, and I believe that is what Honorable Jinapo sent to you, Meboa. Good. What
but
was
Alasan was specific about 3 IPP?
No.
Okay.
No.
What was the question?
I'll read the question to you.
Okay.
So that you can even appreciate the point about the dishonesty of this vice president. This was the question. Mr. Suwini Alasan Saibu Tamalinov to ask the Minister for Finance which independent power producing companies have received payment from the government of Ghana for excess capacity charges and how much was paid to each company in the last 4 years.
Okay.
Because
which IPPs have? Okay.
Yes, and how much has been paid? So to Masika saying and wait to the amount. Because before that, now Omwaka says he can be $1 billion. And yes, say you perceive companies ben which you say sikane ma wo. Say companies no produce we nyama hode no mo do so. Na sikane ya do say. This was the answer of Ken Oforiatta. Mr. Speaker, the underlisted independent power producers have received payments for excess capacity charge for the period under review 2017 to 2020. Utieme. And this is the same period that Dr. Bawumia wants him. Totaling $937.50 million. So we use even an exchange rate of 6 Ghana cedis. Now the Sikawi eba cedis saying less than 6 billion cedis. This is what the finance minister says they have paid. So where did Dr. Bawumia get that excess capacity charger or see you 17 billion. Then nunti na ama Ghana ahochirabahano unya 17 billion away. This is Parliament is a house of record containing the hands that in fact Okansano or no one national chairman Freddie Blay the newspaper Daily Guide published here Nikitania the print say June 21st 2021 last year we are was a government pays $937.50 million excess charges to IPPs. Why should anybody argue? This is Daily Guide. Graphic Online published it. Google it. So they should produce the evidence because when the movie I would have dealt with this later, but let me deal with it. The say for 3 years in a row, ECG bought about 30%. What is called, and I know you understand, technical and commercial losses. Companies no produce Kenya no, produce Kenya ECG. But the legal connection ECG is not able to account for all that power. And the losses are ECG making for 3 years, bear 30%. So no. Almost excess capacity charge, which is not excess capacity charge. They say, yeah, here and you know, what you're mining here, and the abrosono a woho, and so yen but I buy you can and no was any eka. The ECG book can come home. 2018, almost muting Kenya boso. Wona what so? I'm a woman for. But IPP now no independent power producer now will produce when you know what they know. Or non say ne boso. It is no Toma ECG. ECG swat so into ECG sika wa jejere ntimi ntua ka was aban ekoso sa sika no so aban ntua e de card to almost say excess capacity charge. Almost say ye free electricity because ye beto about 2020 we need to win. Ni ye 2 year ye the COVID levy aba say Ghana fo ntua ni mfa nkotua de na ye free ye mfa nkoteneka. Ye free electricity no car ba beda ho and also so maka ni nyina bom. Obi there is no source for that excess capacity charge of 17 billion. Alhaji Bawumia say, Aban wo yetua, na nunti na magana sika sema say, eyentro. Ono one finance minister say, eyentro. The tosu mienu. And now let me even start from where he started from, because Osei or discuss the state of the economy. Now, okay, page 3 of that speech now. Okay, bibi owa. I am there. Last but one paragraph, page 3. Osei essentially, I'm reading the relevant portions. The economy is what we feel in our pockets. Ghana for team here, but we say economy. So technicalities are trade balance, exchange rate, ni nyina no economy ni den eye wobotum tibia se ni sitie. And I go page 5 or so kan bibi wo say. Aban we ye to aba omudi nkunim no. The omudi si omani so so omobe ye ne say. We had only one mission, page 5. Stop the decline and make things better. Enti Opampenyi ya bedi eche ba wo mi ase ye ka economy a ene
Ekosiisen On Asempa.
Eno achire so no. O se aban we ba say obema nyema ye den aye better. So what that means ne say ba wo mi ase aban we de na esi na ni so obe ya aboa Ghana fo nyina so obema ye botom aye den aye better. So bi uti ase sa. Ena utie ne kasa ni nyina o pese o kire say ampa Ghana ne ye economy ni ye better. Now, when nama yahu economy know what it is in simple terms, or say hey botomo no. What would you mean no? Bisa won say 2016 now per bro bag ba kwatwa. Na 170 Ghana cedis. Kese no. A bro. And neya ba wo mi say economy na ye better nti botoma ye better no. Oto a bro bag 620 Ghana, baby 650 Ghana. From 170 to 620, 650 Ghana. And no, you're better. Kokonte bag 2016, near tobacco 200 Ghana cedis. And ne, your tobacco 600 Ghana cedis and above. Into your no, you're better now. And see, I am me ba to muntie mi yo nyema me bobo so no ba kokora ni wa ye kra free yenka kokonte free Ukraine and Russia.
Ekosiisen On
And yenka bro Ghana yenka bro free Ukraine and Russia. Minka wheat because wheat na ba wo mi ase 30% of wheat aye di ni Ghana no. If na Ghana for do so nkra ni di wheat. Ah omo this asem ni tuetu aso.
Omo de flour, omo de flour.
Yo yate. But enyema me bobo so nyina say wheat ni obi wheat wo mu ana de wabam no wa kam etifo atie. Sachet water wheat ni sachet water so free Ukraine and Russia. Na ye to bag no 1 cedi 50 pesos 2016. And na ye to no 8 Ghana cedis. And on better no. And more I friend no millicent. Obi we so nyanyema e free Russia and Ukraine waka se ntokwa bi na amanyema ne boaye den. Ndi obi tie me. Garo loka na ye to back 5 Ghana cedis in 2016. And then you turn 12 Ghana cedis. What is the context? The context is about Wumiasi economy new bottom. It is a enyema bon pempen so akwa do ni beans, majui cap, 1 cedi 50 pesos 2016, and then 5 Ghana cedis. E si den kwa ne woso mampenyi a wo ka wo bo ni die ma Ghana for wotema. Ne ya obi ase nyema bo okosoro obi ebre, obi ene metie waka bi. Se bibia bo okosoro obi ebre no. Wo ba be ka kire se o mo bre. Ghana yesika semwa said there by a better change 2016. Really? You are insulting the intelligence of the people because enye better. This is the worst point. Me many fear me who mra ahochiraba Ghana see. See ebe fiti afe ba kon with petrol and diesel gallon at 30 cedis. And then 44, 45 Ghana cedis. Me who bibi sada. Enti if we are going to look at the bread and butter issues, ye bottom say city here. Who said, Dr. Bawumi, I can't say things are better today than Yanokre. Things are far worse than they were in 2016. Now, the issue ni nyina say, "Bimusi oh, Bawumi ajia to say ahochire wo Ghana na nye margin srepe." But is that what Ghanaians need? They didn't omu dada Ghana for say nyema ye say ahochire na du ba bia. Unto mean dada Ghana ni biem. Ti gina obejia tu. But omu ji tu mu a inse so obo begia tum se omamu ni yie omusika die basa Ghana sika sem omantoto ni yie e na ama ho kire na ba no omusi o da bi enye no ntia na eye COVID-19 eye Russia ni Ukraine to kwa efiti ase ebe bo so me na watwe mienu ni obi enye ma mienu ben pa na wo hwa ama ho kire wo yaba And I obi amfa na manyo sabon to nche ne yenka no krenkyere ho baako obi entibi ni hwachinye exchange rate dollar kwa akoso obi meboa because Ghana nyeme wo ye dwaso no dodo na ye de dollar ne kra nti dollar kosoro a sa nyama ne bo be kosoro bum 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 na dollar MPP for including communicators ni nyina me mudin say COVID-19 ti na ama dollar kosoro. But obi ma chechire mu wa ha say COVID-19 na ma dollar ba fom. COVID-19 kwa na ma cedi nya ahoden unless you don't understand economics. Because the dollar be kosoro we cedi ahoden be say is a function of demand and supply of foreign currencies. COVID-19 ba ye na be say we are seeing nyina dwadie no. Na businessmen a pet dollar so mo de kokwanso akofa de no. Sa demand na ye kakra bi. Enti pressure na da ye see this no na esua. And nay Dr. Bawumia Babejia tum in the speech. Page 69 to page 72. Says Sidina as say no or no went to managing here because he's hopelessly incompetent no COVID ni mu bibia. Bawumia gave 7 reasons why the cedi is depreciating. From page 69 to 72. And let me just read that quickly to you. Was there a number of factors? Why did we see such a major depreciation of the exchange rate in the first quarter? A number of factors can be adduced. 1. Financial markets assessment of the 2022 budget generally concluded that the projected 40% increase in revenue underpinning the budget will likely not materialize. Was there a bank can the 2022 budget we say? Sikadodoa afiore ni muse nsabeka ebe 100.5 billion, which is a 40% increase on the Unyane last year. Investors in this nya ban ni enya dia ban sabenye se sika. Me patro no COVID-19. Obi and one man come na ide. The chaotic battle in Parliament over the budget created because immediately after the budget was read, a day after, the yield on our bonds was increased from 8% to 12%. So that time now, levy hunto kwa Parliament about weeks after the budget was delayed. But we krano say no krumpa say for COVID-19. On Asempa. But when we have the third reason here cedi depreciate, a lack of access to the sovereign bond market. Ghana they say or see yen to me koje bosia BM the capital bond market. Ye kwa obi anhwe yanim adan because also Fitch any Moody's are downgrading Ghana say and baby sika asem na tete apansam aduru no yen timi ntua ye ka. But we asem no no enya sam jam fi na ye ka. Me patcho we COVID-19. COVID-19. Increase in interest rates by central banks in the US and other advanced economies. COVID-19. The conflict between Russia, we have one of the best share. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine, no, no, we are not in the conclusion. The depreciation of the cedi was fundamentally about market's assessment of the fiscal stance of government. Brofu we dey just say investors are or musika wo Ghana no. They were looking at Yesika Sendebijina fiscal assessment. Say yeka ayede. Any ya hoɔden a ye was ye betimi bi atua saa aka no. Any your deficit. That is your fiscal position. And its implication for fiscal and debt sustainability. This was a primary factor in the ratings downgrade. Why a reason? No? And the MPP for mwedi tuachre Ghana for say COVID-19 T and I see the depreciating. No? Yeah, expose mu babu myaso hu say obedi tura ye be expose ni to no so agiato. Now they say that, and in fact all figures now babu me adeba na me person me use to me figures. I will use on one figures at least where the figures are correct. I will use those figures. On one extra empempenso see the depreciating. Or say 2016 Joma me free akonya so no. See the depreciating 9.7%. We have it at 9.6 but you find a 9.7. And I'll say 2017, see the need depreciate 4.7%. Mitia na wa correcting you. 4.7%. That is omoba no 2 additional oil fields aba. Ti Ghana oil dodo e de kwa ma no de kwato na doso nti yenya more dollars into the system. Nti unse see the depreciation ba form. 2018 from 4.7 depreciation to 8.4. The patrona COVID aba. 2018 na COVID o. Na 2019 or see the depreciate 12.9%. In fact, say they need depreciated 2019 12.9 to the sense a buy not say committee so I'm already into CD depreciating. And I've shown you that story. I still have the story here.
On Asempa
Any government inaugurates committee to investigate depreciation of CD. January 17, 2020. Now covered the mile. Now covered by in here. From a depreciation of 12.9% in 2019, 2020, about saying 3.8. Then 2021, 4.1. Because of COVID. Because COVID no reduce pressure on the city. What you say? So this is a vindication of what we've been saying all along. And now 2022 year COVID in the world will be a there. Now I feel the investors now who say yesika sem na say no. Say COVID time they who use free Ghana now they are going. Say America economy no e boom, UK economy boom. It's a fair man who say Ghana baby I cannot do no. I cannot many a do a few 120 billion. As at December 2016 president Mahame Fra Konyaso a 400 billion and a cost your debt to GDP a 83% a headed towards 90%. It's a care many Ghana. You see ka Ghana near Payeniano. Ubi asimi yim sika ako. Enti eno ne de pressure ye den ababe to ye see this was see need depreciate. It's because of a car many ya. Ama fetch ni Moody's a downgrade yako B- and CAA1. Na ye den kwa na Dr. Bawumia. Wo economy ya. Ene fetch a downgrade do negative B. CAA1. Now want to mean kwa mansen bia so kwa nko bobosiano. Wo se no ye better chain mahama economy ya. Na ye graded B+ and at some point B. I say yako school. Na obi abo F. No say my abo F and so maybe performance na ye che obi awabo C. Your rating by sovereign rating agencies or munya Ghana for munya NDC for is the worst since we became a lower middle income country. Obi meboa. Never have we been rated B- and CAA1. So how can that economy be better than an economy which was rated B+ and B? Now Obi. Say ya omajia to mu say CD na depreciate your COVID-19. Even Russia, Ukraine to kwano. Eba da ben. Ansa na eba beba 24 February 2022 yai. Na CD na depreciated 12.9% that am what you committee. So you can't also blame it on it.
You know, he focused specifically on the first quarter of the year. You understand?
Yes.
And first quarter ni munsuna Russia-Ukraine war.
So it has, you can say because of that into no nyama boy de into your mom ko fa nyama no hia more dollars. But we nyina just one out of 7 reasons. And in fact all conclude mpo no one fair no one ho because that is the truth. Now Obi Oba almost COVID-19 asem way.
Wrap up na men komra.
Okay. COVID-19 asem okay. You see before COVID my mom was saying see the need depreciate 12.9. Worse than 2016. So you were not doing better than Mahama economy in 2016 before COVID relative to the depreciation of the cedi. Before COVID, now our deficit for 2019 is 7.5%. Dr. Bawumia said there be a 4 point something. Why won't people call you a liar? When you keep on cooking figures. Obi, have you seen document on what they call IMF for Jessica $1 billion rapid credit facility COVID by deficit ben no declare sika boro sododo or ye indiscipline inti ya pass mra Fiscal Responsibility Act add ye kire ne say ye no ye be live within our means inti ye ma sika ye di boro de buy nsem no so no ye deficit no mro 5%. It is say uko IMF na ho wuntimi neutral na ye ko chewo say sa 2018 na say deficit ye be 4% no sa na ye 7%. 2019 no so now say less than 5% no sa na 7.5 wa na che say wonya no kwafo. And 1 year after you presented the correct figures to IMF who address MPP adusuafo e wo Pentecost a year convention center who use the old figures that you could not stand by when you went to the IMF. What kind of people are leading this country today? So where deficit position is why it was bad. Debt. Obi. Dr. Bawumia speech mu.
Finally on that.
Osei, and I'm just dealing with COVID. Oba, in 7 days, also be brave. Oba, Osei, now your debt to GDP. You 56% in 2016. Obi Meboa. It is in his speech. Ɔsɛ 2019 ansa na COVID ɛbɛba no.
Asempa
Na yɛ debt to GDP ɛyɛ 62.5. Ɛno mpo no wɔyi financial sector clean up no. Ɛne energy sector bailout no wɔyi ne nyina firi. Mo de ka ho a the debt to GDP was 65%. And debt to GDP of 65% means already you are heading into danger. So before COVID, CD was depreciating at 12.9%, debt to GDP 65%, deficit that crossed the acceptable limit of 5%, it was 7.5%. The manufacturing sector, it grew 7.9% in 2016, now a swat about 6.5% before COVID. The construction sector, it grew 8.4% in 2016, now a swat about negative 4.4%. The financial and insurance sector, baby, a banking sector, no, or see a good banking sector. Year 2016 and it grew by 8%. Obi. 2019 before COVID, it grew by 1.8%. So now what do your mind reverse gear? What do you call your chidada and sana COVID year then? Eba. Now what share lastly, now me dem manuesi on COVID-19 no. What share the amount COVID excuse no quite laughable. Two quick issues. Omanpenye Kufuado say State of the Nation address mu. Was a Ghana sika do I spending on COVID-19 obi saying. You can't have the last time I was here. 17.7 billion.
Almost 18 billion.
Yes. Dr. Bawumia is saying.
He gave around the same figure.
No! Obi. You see, I'm showing you that these people make us some chewa. Na would dimechinye. Me say omun kanu krea. Ontiase. Dr. Bawumia say 8.1 billion. Into COVID 8.1 billion. Financial sector cleanup 25 billion. Excess capacity charge and we did was 17 billion. And then the carbon money 50.1 billion. So Oman Penya Kufuado Nancy Wako Parliament State of the Nation address was a COVID. Sikado Ghana used to 17.7 billion. Then the head of economic management team, Alaji Bawumia, a lecture was 8.1 billion. This is why we must probe COVID expenditure on per be proven. And the key point then Pone say whether 17.7 billion or 8.1 billion. Sikankwa eba munsem to manage that crisis was 36 billion. That is almost $6 billion. Because IMF mamu $2 billion. 1 billion in 2020 rapid credit facility and 1 billion in 2021 budget support. Abai BNU IMF amanu $2 billion. Ewa Ghana bako semuda. Use it to manage COVID. World Bank mamu $600 million. Mudi hinta siye Ghana for World Bank Director, Mr. Laporte, the better moto. And in fact, he said, say, even before COVID, na economy na say. AFD4, Emma Musika, European Bank, mamu almost $100 million. The equivalent, that's around 83 million euros. Obiza unim. And Bank of Ghana, so mokoje Bosnian Sika, ye chama, someone found more COVID, hobra, over 20 billion cedis. The ebinum donati mamo, COVID time, COVID fund, nana, justice for Yakufu down on the Kwame Kanka. And on Kwanobi, 36 billion. And it's 8.1 billion pen more used to on COVID. Obi, over 26 billion and now 28 billion. I can't what the COVID cancer sample. Yet you keep blaming this COVID-19 and will be finally just in 30 seconds. Oh, remember we are COVID instead of I make a COVID beam. You're going into other issues. And I say, on krata ye kita mi hey. T20. Ofa suspend ye. Sika wo yusu ya. Na one budget for. I borrow sika ba Burkina Faso was 5.7%. That is their deficit. Yeah, the idea because no mu yusu sika ne basa in the name of elections intino. Ye nya 15.7%. Burkina 5.7. Cote d'Ivoire 5.6% deficit. Nigeria 5.8% deficit. Senegal 6.4% deficit. Ghana 15.7% deficit. So you were more reckless. Okay, almost oh, ebi omo anye free water and free electricity. Togo omo ye free omo to rent more citizens. Rwanda 20,000 households. Yes, and you omo momo. Your countries are nye momo countries ukrano enye bini. And did I hear Bawumia say Ghana's handling of COVID-19 has been acknowledged globally. And why I acknowledge you, Obi? You are a chief defender of Bawumia. Where dear Buano?
No, I will not take that from you, Pacho. I am not a chief defender of Bawumia.
In context, in the context of him not being a liar. But you defend him that he's not a liar.
I am not a chief defender.
In the context of him not being a liar.
I will not take that, Pacho.
Okay, you are not a defender. But Dr. Bawumia say, why are Ghana yafa so aso COVID no? We are seeing na yabo yabaso. Why ne boy yabaso? Is it WHO? Body ben. So the bottom line here in this will be COVID ne ba ye no. And maybe you sue sika ba won sem de tutu won sika yo ma ni sika basa ba ye di sika no basa ye nya 55 billion pen ba ye sem ye wie afe no 2020 ni ye di 100 billion and the deficit 15.7 na ba e ma ye ka ne course ro ase ye sika enti mu nya se mu blame on mine mu aye den no on COVID and all that. Well, but Bawumia couldn't stand by that.
Dr. Bernardo Koboy about the cancer studio. He would have his time and also review the speech. And Ramnini didn't come live from the venue. After the presentation, we'll come back again. And he's here. We'll have his review of the Bawumia speech after this. Yeah, but it's here.
Extra special Easter promotion
Asempa FM.
So my baby to say mobile phones, laptops, printers, televisions, home theaters, fridges, microwaves, washing machines in Nigeria. Our computer Ghana. Easter
Ekosiisen On Asempa
50% discount. Our hot demo be biara our computer Ghana. Actually, I so dear. Eye bubruda. And nti borrow computer Ghana krapete biara Easter. Muna wanka safa weni kokoshe. And also waiting your shopping online at www.computerghana.com. Download the app no Compute Ghana. Ewo Android and iOS. Na enjoy free delivery. Ewo Nkaya anytime. Ain't free on 0302 752020. WhatsApp on 0243 143 143. Compute Ghana. Passion for technology.
Life Plan Properties Limited. Amansaseto. Aye simple. Ensasi amansu neho. Ensuo enkania. Eni akwan nyina wo so dada. Ebi wo kaswa Ato City. Na se upia 10,000 Ghana cedis. Yama cement 20 bags. Ebi so amasaman. Kojo ashon. Tommy Abra. Eni amount from Asabaha. Obetimi atua 50%. Ni ama wa fe. Now the titia dia kan kakra. Life Plan Properties Limited. Ewo Dansuma Runabout. One ADB Bank ni die anywhere. Friend 0244 849436 and a 0200183232. Life Plan Properties Limited. Your investment is in good hands.
Asempa biaba. Upesika akostati ejuma bi. Uhia bosia atre udwadie mu. Uye government ana private worker unye sika de ate hot bi so. Uye busumi ejuma unye scan tempa bi so. Eni na quick credit be ma obosia mu atwa ne kakra. Eye collateral free loan na susu savings account opening ni deposit BRNim de hia ne se uye Ghana ni na wo Ghana card. Se wanye adwuma afiwe mu de kodia na wa na upe o excuse BRNim for quick credit it was 0302 200 390 and 0596 920-833. Number fufro biara frewa enya quick credit. Shenen so say quick credit and malone ewo internet so. Inti shena obiara andada. Bank of Ghana amomu dwede ho kwan na kai say nhihye da ho.
Quick credit. Lending made simple.
Niatetifo ne prehwehwɛ no ɛno na yenye ɛne sɛ Ghana State Book Project Kwa Traditional Council ɛne Dasibra Advisory Board abɔmɔden atwerɛ kwa amammerɛ ɛne abakɔsɛm akɔngoma baako mu a sesiala ayɛ krado na yɛato ne din Kwa State Book mehyia kwa abakɔsɛm ngoma ɛno nti afieda 15th April ɛne ntiri ne animpa ma ɛbɛta yɛkyi amia pa ngoma ho ntoma no ɛbɛbɔ ana akɔ ɛsoro gyima mampo agya ahemfie ɛwɔ abene no wakɔkyea kwa wura Dasibra kwa mu agya pɔn ɔtɔ no
16th April 2022 Easter Memneda and Nayepa Nguma Huntuma Ewon Price Social Center Anopa Nondu na dwumadie no ahyase sada no ye betire kwawu amamre na mani efefe
kwawura Dasibra kwa mu Japan otosumie no ebetena na dwam one kwa ohima nana dwo agemfo otosumiensa ama kwa ma bo mu chidom Ghana mampani His Excellency Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo baby Vice President His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia baba Former President His Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and so Abba Jumedi Affair Santimera, or Tikokoso 247 Otosumienu, and so did no Nyamba Beta Jumedi Chibi. Yatun Safra him for a Dimuaka Mamu, a bit to say, Aquamuhine, Ochihine, Denchahine, and a Tachimahine, or Jiahuaya Ojebi, a president, National House of Chiefs, or baby, Sansuna Togba Fede, our Tosudunsia, Ayo Himpon, our Asogli State, or your former president, National House of Chiefs, or baby, His Royal Majesty, Nene Sakite II, Aya Kono, Menya Krobo, or Sansu Eastern Regional House of Chiefs President, or baby, Affair Swafo, and Rashebejafo, and Yuma Hudu Mumpani for, Metrase, Yatun Fregana Maina, Open Chemua, Fregana State Book Budget in Penny 4, I was 0506 127 322, and now quote Traditional Council Registrar, I was 0244 113 053, Aqua Mine, at the Pana Bedrio, and Timumi and Yanfa Hunsham, Najumadian Yepayo, Asasia Mine, Yantijai.
Hey, lala didi lala. What worry has so dear? Na me dear yemia. Africa Queen Mackerel bonejuma wo sisan. Africa Queen Mackerel leader what ya see owunia. Se wo de ye aduane a. E danson. Tomato sauce na egu ho no so e ye rich. Yes. E pise wo. Nti e me aduane ne de ye stronko. Enam no so hye ma. Na me kire se nam panko a. Wa wo beti ase. Na wo be checking so. Africa Queen Mackerel dear. E ye grade 1 o. Na me say me twa kwa me nkwan. Na me tu bi gu mu a. Na to ne ne term so. Honey, Obaba, Papa, oh you ma, me jo. Me say, John Love, Gary Photo, rice and stew, and piscine gravy dear. Africa Queen Mackerel ni mo. Intimi now. Ampa. Africa Queen Mackerel. Shawenum keke, nam papa no.
Africa Queen. Africa Queen. Shawenum keke.
Ekosiisen On Asempa FM.
Cocoa dairy free coconut milk. Yakube America, or boad ye dia bakube and a yediaye. So would the good tea and now cocoa moa, and wapo, enti Emma no pediani ye crabeshankasa. Calcium ni vitamin D2 are a woman, and ma will sing new dumpimu yedin. Vitamin D12 and so boama will mojanu di efusani. Cocoa dear, Edriabana yediaye, na vegetarian society a wo UK ajia tumpifi. Cocoa dairy free coconut milk. Jibaku sesia, etu phone for telephone 027-444-0180. FDA ahwehwesa edwade nkrato yimu agiatum sey Cocoa dairy free coconut milk.
Hey, it's me pad and me kita mi amike. Ecobank me damase.
Shy, cow and yo.
Osei Ecobank, ye cruising.
Monso bet me cruise wo wankasa ukebo. Esane Ecobank Auto Finance Package nti. Koyen cardless ahodo PI no onye adwuma baby a. Ye ka da wakoma so. Say ye new car, say ye second hand. Ehwa ye mouse special discount. Ecobank sa den hihye pa be boa mo etua ka no kanyina. Ye mount interest rate ani boa from cry, ebe brim weni so. Oh, so when your accounts work bank money how cry. Sa kwenye ye da ho mobia. Enti enso sa ka no ho da keke. Abebu awie. Preto 0800 003 225. Anasa ko Ecobank nkra bata bebia na busa Ecobank Auto Finance Package. Ensise kakra wo ho. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hey, you're the up and coming landlord. Who died yes where you?
Kwame, I don't mean you. I can roofing and a ceiling. Na me contract anon so say. Ne feni na enko dan rocksters. Wonso wo kromo pan. Wo dwen ho sen.
The contract an wo nimni ekọ. Ghana had here a ban of quality metal trusses, roofing sheets, plasterboard and a POP ceiling there. Aye rocksters. Enfie be brain na rocksters. Adi roofing sheet papa ene ho aka there. Asum Ghana for.
Enka ye say ya no mu die nso ebo.
Eni adufudi achi na nkotwa de bon ne nsunda achi. Fre 0544 338041. Say metal trusses, roofing sheet, plasterboard and a POP ceiling there. Fre rocksters na won chawuntum.
It's new, it's fresh, and more entertaining. Asempa Showbiz Reviews.
We're about to take it back. You're rocking with the best.
You be Edin Komo with your favorite celebrities.
Beautiful Yvonne, how are you?
We made a lot of money back in the day.
We haven't had a real global artist from Ghana, apart from Osibisa.
Abedafo so betnase. Nya yem pensem mu. Make a panel discussion.
Netflix to put your movie on their platform. If you can't match, you won't be there.
But don't forget, so bet me a call into the show. No watch your wajene. Name kai. So be joining. Our various social media handles: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and the Kika Asempa 94.7 FM. This and every Saturday, 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Asempa 94.7 FM. Near for your rejuvenated and refreshing weekend entertainment program, Asempa Showbiz Review. Yeah, from Merle. Don't miss it. Asempa Showbiz Review.
Bedu Insuma Finance no Enunio Denim say what can I check? Ekwesi ada 10th April Ewa Adum TV so Insuma Grand Finale no Ye desanya brown Ye babe wusu West Hills Mall Ewa Accra ni Kaswa Kwantempon so When ye competition pay Eye fanfare mua Bra nebesha o finalists no Anita Enim Daniel Entry Kezi Edu Inshira Koto Francis Kadum Samuel Sam and a Lady Theodora When ye besuan Insuma Hini Anahima. Why not 20,000 cities in the coffee? Na nyoma buruja na kaka hono so e. Wo de be share yan e West Hills Mall. Agro de be share 4 p.m. 6 p.m. sharp na ye wo TV so. Adwetufo ekuku dambi so be fast e. Ebiti se oba pak
Asempa FM.
Pat Thomas. Na brand na be che Insuma pass contestant no. Amunsu be di akro wo hobby. Eye kwesi ada 10th April 2022. 6 p.m. sharp na de brow e wo Adum TV so. Kayo West Hills Mall and crying Kaswa Kwantempon so Instruma Yeshrain Adum TV Yawazo ye
Abnenie, Mamia Okutachum Postronko.
I've been blessed with 3 beautiful daughters.
We see the bosse, Obetutu ne Mama me and sending in Abrabo. Manesi ye will be PRM.
If you want to live in poverty without making something of yourself, you can do that. But I will not allow you to drag your sisters with you. Never.
Shodua a more share or yetre ni akomatia wo eno sinikaya Showmax edia benum. Sign it up. Nasha eno was showmax.com. Na wonso sepe wubi. Mu here in shishe biao. Me etrim ebribia wope
Asempa bia ba upesika akostati ejuma bi ohia bosia atre wodwadie mu woye government ana private worker ohia sika de ate wo hot bi so woye busumi ejuma ohia scan tempa bi so eni na quick credit be ma obosia mo atwa ne kakra eye collateral free loan na susu savings account opening ni deposit BRNim de hia ne se woye Ghana ni na wo Ghana card se wanye adwuma afiwe mu de kodia na wo na wo o excuse BRNim for quick credit it was 0302 200 390 and 0596 920-833. Number for Biara Frewa and quick credit. Shannon so say quick credit and malone ewo internet so. Inti Shanna Obiara and Dadao. Bank of Ghana am momu dedi ho kwan na kai say nhihye da ho.
Quick credit. Lending made simple.
Ago.
Why no?
Oh, me o akosu ya nie.
Hey, akosu ya bram.
Hey, Joe, na den na wo dan ho nyina yesu ka bisi. Na dem hare TV ne susu yi na fridge susu na ya adwuma.
Ye, wano pasem.
Wo ya illegal connections wa hu. ECG wo ma to task force a security agencies eka. Ya wo mo eboa se na ebe ya ne ye boni sei ye betumi etu a. Bra etia sa na ye boni nyina e wo ho no mo ase ye nsa so mu a ye do ba kogina court ne atwe aso.
Hey, sa mom na tie.
Illegal connections emwa ECG mo nsa nka eto a wo so mo nsa ka. Illegal connections emwa enya enyinama hoɔden trodo. Illegal connections ebetimi emeja atoto afie me ne nnwuma awodo mu ene betimi nso ama light bi ekiki nkrofo de bia.
Me show boss efiti na akui meja me ne ye bone a me ye ho. Se wo so bi enam kwan bone so de enyinam kanea edi dwuma frɛ 0551 444 011 na eka biara de bobo sa nipa ko no ahamu nchichemu ensia ebeye wo dia.
Moma ye nyina nya oman bapa na yensi illegal connections ano.
It's new, it's fresh, and more entertaining. Asempa Showbiz Review.
We're about to take it back. You're rocking with the best.
You better come up with your favorite celebrity.
Beautiful Yvonne, how are you?
We made a lot of money back in the day.
We haven't had a real global artist from Ghana, apart from Osei.
Panel discussion.
Netflix to put your movie on their platform. If you can't match, you won't be there.
But don't forget, so bet me a call into the show. No what share wajene. Name kai. So be joining our various social media handles: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and the Kikahu. Asempa 94.7 FM. This and every Saturday,
Asempa
1:30 p.m.
FM
to 3 p.m. on Asempa 94.7 FM. Near for your rejuvenated and refreshing weekend entertainment program. Asempa Showbiz Review. Yeah, from Mel. Don't miss it. Asempa Showbiz Review.
Hey, it's me pan and me kita mi amike. Ecobank, me damase.
Shy, cow than you.
Osei Ecobank, yeah, cruising.
Bonsu bet me cruise wo wankasa ukemo. Esani Ecobank Auto Finance Package nti. Koyen card dealers ahodo PI no onye adwuma bebia. Yika eda wakoma so. Say new car, say second hand. Ewa your mouse special discount. Ecobank side nhihye pa be boa wo etua car no kanyina. Your mount interest rate and boa from cry. Ebe brim weni so. Oh, so when your accounts work bank and money how cry. Sa kwenye ye da homo bia. Enti enso sa car no ho dae keke. Abebu awie. Preto free 0800 003 225. Anasa kwa Ecobank nkrabata bebia nebusa Ecobank Auto Finance Package. Ehihye kakra wo ho. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Yo, chairman, what you go on for your side? Chale, hard times, so see. I try say I go stake back for this side, sir, but I know they work. See, they also the job for this side. Oh, Chale, yeah, wow. But why you know they stake for soccer bet, eh? You say what? Soccer bet? Yes, they are back with the highest odds, bro. You for look sharp, oh.
When winning is important enough, you do it when the odds are not in your favor. But with soccer bet, the odds are in your favor. Bet on the highest odds in any soccer bet shop or simply download the soccer bet mobile app and bet anywhere. With soccer bet, stand the chance to win and get your cash instantly. Soccer bet, your best bet for sports betting. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. Gaming can be addictive. Not for persons below 18 years.
FM.
Ekosiisen On Asempa FM.
Ensuo mankwa. Ensuo yemkwa. Nom awake purified drinking water. Aboju nsuo a eye kroje. Ensuo ne ma wa hodede tena ho abribia. Kan say awake bottle ba ko bi a wo beto no. Ye yi sika kakra de kon National Cardiothoracic Center. Awake purified drinking water. One for life.
For bulk purchase, contact 0262 351 251.
FD ahwehwe sajade nka to ma jatum say Nia tetefo ne prehwehwe ye no eno na na yenyen ene se Ghana State Book Project Qual Traditional Council ene Dasibra Advisory Board abomodin atro kwa amamre ene abakosem akongoma bakumu a sesiala aya krado na yato ne din Qual State Book mechia kwa abakosem ngoma eno ntie fieda 15th April ene ntire ne animpa ma ebeta yachi amia pa ngoma ehuntoma no ebebo ana akọ esuru jima mampo agya ahimfie ewa bene no akochia kwa wura Dasibra kwa mu agya pon otosumie
16th April 2022 Easter Memneda and na yepa nguma ihuntuma ewo Price Social Center anopa nondu na dwumadie no ahyase sada no ye be kire kwawu amamre ne na mane efefe
kwawura Dasibra kwa mu Japan otosumie no ebetena na dwam one kwa ohima na na dwo agemfo otosumiensa ama kwa ma bo mu chidom Ghana Mampani His Excellency Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo Ebebi Vice President His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia Beba Former President His Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor-Baba, former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Franco Trading Enterprise still phone Papa Fie, Samsung near, Nokia near, iPhone near, say our printers, mobile phone, accessories. Franco Trading Enterprise, our no TV, I had this satellite, any ultra panels, a bomb
Facebook, Sauko Franco Trading Enterprise page. Nasa likes number 100,000. Ayoma, Edu Munija, Samsung at www.francotrading.com. Android app, Franco Trading, Instagram, at Franco Trading. Nani Papa the 4 dosunti. Franco, the Momo Pay code number 189480.
Your branches on the Bebre Wagana baby, Nemum, head office on the Twaya Dabraka, opposite Roxy Cinema.
Tema, Franco Community 1, One Waterworks, Nedianimere, Cycle, opposite Odor Rise, Madina, 100 meters away from the police station. Kaswa, Franco, opposite Kaswa Polyclinic.
And now for your numbers in 0246 422 338 and 0546 133 188. Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, phone Papa Fie. And you're not going.
Ekosiisen On Asempa review.
Ade wenye sikapodu obi ana.
Share Bell Chillin Win promo. Me Bell Cola, Puka, and Tamarinda Chillin no. Na me cruise o me kia picanto e mono chia onu.
Sesen.
Bell Beverages say, Abribia Roberto favorite Bell Beverage say air squeeze, Bell Aqua Active, Big Boss, Bell Breeze, Bell Malt, and the keka ho. Yi hwashen so the entire ho no be 20. Fashion envelope move for D and O contact ka ho. Na fa ko Bell Beverages depot and I will distributors a wo memo fana be bia. And no ano no. Ubetumi anya kwenye di achede pi. Ebi ti say TV, fridge, and a demo niema bebre a wo pe. Ubetumi nso anya akrade a wo di be kwa kodidwa. And a Bell product wa achede bebre. Na me kese pa no. Aye kia picanto e mono chiao. E wo Bell Chill and Win monthly raffle draw you move.
Hey, and your Bell Beverages dear bosso.
For 0544 335 800 and 0544 335 900. Najihum YP and DH ever social media at Bell Beverages. I think so Bell Beverages. I will Jumia Ghana so FDA Ajigedi Kratoi Atom.
Emma Rosom Deco dear. Hona se usi udanu rene do finishing touches. Nemo sisia. I was how do any chill. Emma Rosom Deco. Amu Arison water heater. Made in Italy. Size beer. PPR fittings. Chrome stop cock. NEP. Ideal standard straight and corner bath. Bathroom and kitchen taps of pure chrome. And fading. And rusty. Quality WC and wash and basin. Beautiful bathroom accessories of different models. Just a age drop break dear. Italian brando. Nagana Hadia. Emma Rose Home Deco. Niamaya Papa. Therefore, almost a 2-year warranty. Emma Rose Wachimota. Quite filling station opposite. Kantanka showroom no lane is one kind. Kumase. Emma Rose Wapatase Police Depot. Jinasi Road. Fresh 0559 650 682. Najenche Mubia. Emma Rose Home Decor.
Document when you na I was saying you juma na sumenia any
Asempa FM
nom agbeve hebati no agbeve hebati oh okay ebema wa ya let e stress na free hokra
no cre me say manom agbeve tonic menstrual pains free me so agbeve tonic when you mato anase koko hawa numbi
agbeve tonic dey amwa ye fine mum
eba no malaria nso a agbeve fever na me dey tutu egu abra maye malaria test ehunu say bi wo mu
na what agbeve herbal mix capsules nso kan kan na ye powder say dey wodi nsuo no mu a no apanka bia di egusu
agbeve herbal mix eno na sa me kunu sisi yare eni ayemutim esan ya afasi duro nso
me nso sa
na se me hia agbeve nroi hina bia
ewo pharmacies herbal chemical shops apem for about o mo money for nkwada we ni fiedum yenu kan ho
Ekosiisen
agbeve herbal products for 020-813-0790 and 0246-595-256 FDA agi edwede nkrato yatum.
Hey, it's me pan and me kita mi amike. Ecobank, me damase.
Shy, cow than yo.
Osei Ecobank, ye cruising.
Bonsu bet me cruise wo wankasa ukemo. Esani Ecobank Auto Finance Package nti. Koyen card dealers ahodo PI no onye adwuma bebia. Yika eda wakoma so. Say ye new car, say ye second hand. Ehwa ye mouse special discount. Ecobank sa den hihye pa beboa mo etua ka ne ho kanyina. Ye mouse interest rate ani boa from cry. Ebe brim weni so. Oh, so when your accounts work Ecobank money how cry. Sa kwenye ye da ho promo bia. Enti enso saka no ho dae keke. Abemu awie. Preto free 0800 003 225. Anasa ko Ecobank nkrabata bebia na busa Ecobank Auto Finance Package. Enti check akra wo ho. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Ejenya bedu insuma finance no enuni o yenim se wa kan ache eye kwesi ada
Asempa FM
ewa Adum TV so insuma grand finale no ye de san ya brown ye ba be wuso
Ekosiisen On Asempa FM
ewa Accra ni Kaswa Kwantimpon so we de enye competition pe o eye fanfare mu a bra na be show finalists no Anita Enim Daniel Entry Keziedu Ishira Koto Francis Kadum Samuel Sam and a Lady Theodora when ye be instrument hitting anahima. Why not 20,000 cities in the coffee? Then you mabuja neka uno swear. Would you ever share in our West Hills Mall? I grow the best chassis 4 p.m. 6 p.m. sharp na your TV so. I get to 4 ekuku dambiso be fast here. Emi to say Obapa Chrissy. Kamido. Pat Thomas. Na branda beche instrument pass contestant no. Amusu be dia grow hobby. Ekwesiada 10th April 2022 6 p.m. sharp near the brow ewa Adum TV so. Kayo eye West Hills Mall. Enkran Kaswa Kwantimpon so. Instruma yeshrain Adum TV ye wazo ye.
Anytime I feel lonely, feeling sad, only one station makes me happy. When I wake up in the morning, only this station.
Ekosiisen On Asempa FM.
Oh, Asempa, Asempa, Asempa FM. Asempa, Asempa, Asempa FM. Oh, Asempa, Asempa, Asempa FM. Asempa, Asempa, Asempa FM. 94.7.
94.7 Asempa FM so ne Ekosiisen dwumadi no asugu so awutie no ma yena mo nyina ase ne nsan so ma kwa babie emfa momra Asempa FM so me need your say Bonsu from you be make say Dr. Bernard Okoboy or a former MP Lejokoko constituency, former deputy health minister, and he's on the show representing the NPP. Lawyer Sami Jemfi, National Communications Officer Edema NDC. Mami nsa infantwem se nyame adomu a kwesi ade Kumasi Asante Kotoko any Accra for game eba so Baba Yara Stadium. Initially time eba na 6 p.m. but sisia FAH remo masasa time no at about 3 p.m. because of security concerns at Ghana Police Service. Enti Kotoko any heart game eba so Kumasi no 3
On Asempa FM
3 p.m. Inti mo channel so MIA na mo mpesa mo kokoshe match no please take note of the time change. Every 6 p.m. say 3 p.m. pepepe na at the game na so El Baba Yara Sports Stadium and the Moon so MIA. Dr. Bernard Okoboy akwa doc na apomu te saying bibi aboko there.
Obi. Ede asidama nyankopon.
Yes.
Yedanasi say wama adom no aye bebre. Obi onim say ebi mo a unfortunately
look your mic ni kakra
Obi onim say ebi mo unfortunately COVID ema omo free ase no enye say we better chen wono ena enye say sebio eduane bi a wodi na aboa wa ma wo ti ase by adom
Asempa FM
enti na nipa so de say